Chapter 1834. Zixia City was a long way from Spirit Immortal Kingdom, so they took the barefoot enlightened being's airship. His airship was a high-grade true artifact. When the airship reached its maximum size, it could accommodate over 1,000 people. After everyone boarded the airship, Qinfen stood outside with Zhang, Cuckoo, and Shaoli. He had no intention of entering the airship. "Senior, please take care of everyone." Qinfen cupped his fist at the barefoot enlightened being. "Go in peace. Be careful on the way. We'll meet again in Spirit Immortal Kingdom." Qinfen's new plan was to sneak out. He asked the barefoot enlightened being to leave through the exit of Zixia City while he secretly took Zhang, Cuckoo, and Shaoli back to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Although Qinfen's forces were not weaker than the enemies outside the city, he had always been cautious. An extra layer of insurance was an extra layer of safety. After everyone said their goodbyes, Qinfen took out the flying cloud all. When the flying artifact appeared, the barefoot enlightened being's eyes lit up. He tried to check the level of the flying cloud all, but he found that the aura of this artifact did not belong to the divine continent. The reason why Qinfen left alone was because he had the flying cloud all. The flying cloud all was a product of the system's Star-Saint technology interface. He believed that if he took advantage of the night to leave with the flying cloud all, even a void god would have a hard time finding him. Since Qinfen didn't explain the level of the flying cloud all, the barefoot enlightened being didn't ask any more questions. The flying cloud all rose into the air, and Qinfen activated its stealth flight mode. In the dark, the flying cloud all seemed to be one with the darkness. "Master, let's leave alone and let the others face the enemies. Will they be okay?" Shaoli was restless in the cabin. Zhang Cuckoo waved her little fist and said, "That's right, Brother Qinfen. How can we be deserters? Why don't we go back and kill to our heart's content?" Qinfen was amused by Zhang Cuckoo's reaction. He didn't know when this girl became a violent maniac. It must have started after she drank the ancient gene fluid. "Don't worry. I just don't want to see our friends get hurt or killed in the battle. That's why I left alone. The forces lying in ambush outside Zixia City are coming for me. If they find me running away, they won't fight with the others. Moreover, we have barefoot enlightened being with us. I believe those people won't dare to mess with us." After listening to Qinfen's analysis, the two women came to a sudden realization, and their tense hearts finally relaxed. The barefoot Taoist flying ship had just risen into the sky. He had intentionally waited for Qinfen to leave before setting off. This was to buy Qinfen some time. However, just as the airship flew out of Zixia City, it was stopped by another huge airship. Taoist Barefoot and the others were not surprised by this situation. This was within their expectations. The cabin opened, and everyone was ready to go down. However, Barefoot's spiritual master's expression suddenly changed when he walked to the door. He felt 3 extremely powerful auras. They were definitely 3 void, god, realm, ultimate gods. These 3 auras were completely different from the 4 auras he had sensed when he first arrived. It seemed like there were 7 void, god realm experts in the other party's force. At this moment, even Taoist Barefoot was nervous. He thought to himself that it was a good thing Qinfen was cautious enough to play a trick. Otherwise, if he had followed, this battle would have been disastrous. However, it was only a short moment of absent-mindedness. The barefoot immortal had already landed on the ground. So what if there are 7 virtual god realm ultimate gods on the other side? No one knew where Qinfen had flown to. These people's plan had failed. After Barefoot's spiritual master went down, the rest of the cultivators disembarked one after another. They had long known that there were many forces waiting to ambush Qinfen outside Zixia City, but they were still shocked when they saw these forces. Why are there so many people on the other side? Didn't young hero Qin spread the news that Senior Barefoot's spiritual master was here to escort us? What were these people thinking? Not only did they not scare away some forces, but their forces seem to have increased. There are at least 50 to 60 sects and families representatives. Something is not right. Senior Dongxian's spiritual master? Senior, immeasurable, immortal. who was the old man standing next to the two seniors. Qin Feng's team was in an uproar. Everyone finally realized something was wrong. There were two immortal venerables in the enemy's team. At this moment, someone exclaimed, "I know that senior. He is also an immortal venerables. He is Big Dipper, great deity Bei Chun." The crowd suddenly became silent. Didn't they say that there were only 4 virtual god realm ultimate gods on the other side? Why did 3 people jump out? Moreover, these 3 people were immortal venerables who were at the same level as Senior Barefoot Spiritual Master. Huh, isn't this Junior Brother Barefoot? Why are you here? Before everyone could calm down, Dong Xian's laughter was heard. His voice was faint and illusory, as if it came from thousands of miles away. However, it had a ferocious aura. Just one sentence from him was enough to make the cultivators below true spirit realm dizzy. An aura surged from Barefoot's spiritual master's body and seemed to block Dong Xian's sound wave pressure. Only then did everyone feel a little better. Senior Brother Dong Xian, why are you here? Barefoot's spiritual master frowned. Even he did not expect Dong Xian and the others to come. For a moment, Barefoot's spiritual master's mind was racing. Chapter 1835. That's not right. Senior Brother Dong Xian, Qin Feng isn't here. Wu Yanghai suddenly exclaimed. Dong Xian and Bei Chen's expressions changed drastically. They had already scanned the crowd with their divine senses, and indeed, they couldn't find Qin Feng. Yunding, what the hell are you doing? Where did you hide that kid? The smile on Dong Xian's face disappeared as a ferocious aura surged from his body. There was an explosion in the air. The aura was like a torrential river, instantly filling up the surrounding air and suffocating the crowd. It was only then that many people knew Barefoot Enlightened Being's name was Yunding. Qin Feng left a long time ago. Don't even think about finding him. Barefoot Enlightened Being's expression was cold. Senior Dong Xian, let's go catch Qin Feng. Long Outyin was anxious after knowing that Qin Feng had escaped. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Dong Xian scolded him. Shut up. You have no right to speak here. Yunding is lying. My 2 junior brothers and I have been guarding this place. How could anyone have escaped? The scolding shocked the crowd. Everyone finally realized the power of an unworldly celestial lord. The Soaring Dragon Merchant Association was the #1 merchant association in the Northern Sand region. They had members all over the continent and were considered one of the top factions in the Northern Sand region. However, such a faction was like an ant in Dong Xian's eyes. When he scolded Long Outyin in public, the Dragon Soul didn't even say a word. Senior Brother Dong Xian is right. We have been guarding here. That Qin Feng couldn't have escaped. Even if he didn't take this route, he wouldn't have escaped from our divine senses, Wu Yanghai added. Bei Chen nodded. At the same time, he used his divine senses to cover the entire Zixia city. However, he couldn't find Qin Feng's presence. That kid really disappeared. There's no trace of his presence within 100 miles. Bei Chen's eyes flashed with shock. It was hard to explain the situation. Dong Xian pulled a long face. He didn't believe that a mere Buddha-like cultivator like Qin Feng could escape from the surveillance of 3 godly lords. It seemed like Yunding must have done something. Yin Feng, we don't want to have any unnecessary conflict with you. But if you don't hand over Qin Feng, don't blame us for being impolite. Dong Xian's patience had run out. The cultivators on the Cloud Summit side were trembling in fear. They thought they were facing the Dragon Soul and the other 4 hollow God Realm forces, but they didn't expect 3 immortal venerables to suddenly appear. These 3 people alone were enough to kill all of them. I'll say it again. Qin Feng has already left. If you want to find him, go find him yourself. Cloud Summit's attitude was firm. This time, the immeasurable sea lost his patience. Cloud Peak, you're just looking for trouble. Cloud Summit was enraged as well. Eastern Profound, so Immeasurable Sea. Both of you are seniors of the Northern Sand Continent. You know Qin Feng's identity, yet you still want to kill him. Do you want to see the divine continent perish? These words were spoken rather obscurely, and everyone who heard them was confused. Dong Xian laughed, haha. It was precisely because he knew that kid's identity that he was determined to find him. You old fart, you've always believed in the bullshit thousand-year calamity and the tribulation taker, but I don't believe in that bullshit. In other words, isn't it better for me to face the calamity with my strength? I'm helping the entire divine continent. I'll ask you one last time. Where did you hide Qin Feng? Dong Xiansu roared. I'll say it again. Go find him yourself. Rumble. A loud explosion shook heaven and earth. It was as if the heaven and earth were collapsing. The cultivators were dumbfounded. This was the result of a casual palm strike from Dong Xiansu. Dong Xian, as an immortal venerable, how dare you attack these juniors? Aren't you afraid of embarrassing yourself? Barefoot Immortal was shocked. He didn't expect Dong Xiansu to really attack. I, Dong Xiansu, am only looking for Qin Feng today. The rest of you leave now. If you don't want to leave, then treat it as you're going against me. If I kill you during the fight, then you're asking for it. Dong Xiansu's attitude was firm. Everyone couldn't understand why he was doing this. Not only him, but also the immeasurable immortal, Great Northern Dipper Immortal, and Barefoot Immortal. These four immortal venerables of the North Sand Continent had a falling out because of Qin Feng. Someone recalled the thousand-year calamity that Dong Xiansu mentioned. This was the first time most of the cultivators here had heard of it. What the hell was a thousand-year calamity? However, there were some cultivators with higher realms who had heard of it. They thought it was just a rumor, but now that the four immortal venerables mentioned it, it seemed like the thousand-year calamity was real. However, Dong Sage said that Qin Feng was the tribulation taker. What did that mean? No one expected a fight to break out. Or rather, Barefoot Immortal and the rest didn't expect Dong Xiansu and the other two to be present. With the appearance of these three, the forces of the Soaring Dragon Merchant Association became insignificant. Even if all of them were to join forces, they might not be able to compete with Dong Xiansu and the other two. This was a fight without any suspense, but not many cultivators ran away from Barefoot Immortal's side. Those who escaped were not on good terms with Qin Feng. They were only trying to make themselves known because of Barefoot Immortal's presence. The fight started with Dong Xiansu's palm strike. Barefoot Immortal took out a jet-black long sword in a fit of rage. The moment the long sword was taken out, it emitted a terrifying aura. It was unknown what material the sword was made of, but it absorbed all the light like a black hole. One of the 8 great immortal weapons of the North Sand Continent, the Spectre Sword? Someone exclaimed, obviously recognizing the long sword Barefoot Immortal was using. His eyes were glued to the sword, forgetting that he was in the middle of an unprecedented battle. It really is the Spectre Sword. I always thought this immortal sword was just a legend. I didn't expect it to be in Senior Barefoot Immortal's hands. Rumor has it that an immortal weapon's power is comparable to a virtual god powerhouse. If that's the case, Dong Sage and the rest might not be a match for it. Barefoot Immortal didn't have the time to care about the discussion. After the Spectre Sword appeared, he immediately took it out. The long sword seemed to be able to devour light. Its speed was so fast that it made people dizzy. It actually pulled out a black hole in the void and unknowingly flew in front of Dong Xiansu. Immeasurable Sea and Bei Chun were shocked. They instinctively dodged Dong Xiansu to avoid being accidentally injured. This action made Dong Xiansu very unhappy, but he didn't have the time to think about anything else. He immediately sent a palm strike above his head. Rumble. With a loud bang, a small umbrella rose into the air. That small umbrella instantly turned into a huge black umbrella. The black umbrella spun rapidly, and the bottom of the umbrella was also pitch black. It was like the darkness of the ghost's sword, and it devoured all the energy around it. The moment the black umbrella appeared, the power of Barefoot Immortal's sword completely fell. No sound was heard. All that could be seen was a hurricane sword chi forming and being absorbed into the black umbrella. The people who were in the midst of fighting all stopped and looked at the battle in disbelief. These two were indeed the top experts of the Northern Sand Continent who had yet to enter the worldly immortal reverence. The clash of moves between them was simply not something ordinary cultivators could compare with. Soul, locking umbrella? That's the soul-locking umbrella above Senior Dong Xianjunren's head, someone exclaimed, recognizing the mysterious black umbrella. When the name of the umbrella was announced, the crowd was instantly filled with shock. This black umbrella was one of the 8 great immortal equipment of the Northern Sand Continent. Before this, everyone thought that the 8 great immortal equipment of the Northern Sand Continent were just legends because no one had ever seen them used. Who would have thought that 2 immortal equipment would appear in the world today? Don't just stand there and do nothing. Take down Cloud Summit first, then force out Qin Feng's whereabouts. After temporarily blocking Cloud Summit's attack, Dong Xiansu glared at Immeasurable Sea and Bei Chun with dissatisfaction. The two pretended that nothing had happened and immediately flew over to help. 3 reclusive, immortal venerables surrounded Cloud Summit. He was immediately at a disadvantage. His white robe was torn, and even his body was injured. He was bleeding profusely. He looked very pathetic. Seeing this, Oyangjun and White Spirit Bird flew over to help. The Spirit Bird fought against Immeasurable Sea for a while, but Oyangjun had just stepped in Nihility God Level 1 and was no match for Bei Chun. The battle started and everyone joined in. But not long after, Qin Feng's team suffered heavy casualties. When Cloud Summit slashed down with his spectral sword, his breath was almost exhausted. Dong Xiansu took out his soul-locking umbrella. Under the powerful suction force, Cloud Summit could even feel the aura of death. Without any time to think, he took out a talisman and disappeared from the battlefield. Once Cloud Summit left, Qin Feng's side lost the battle. Many people tried to escape, but only a few managed to do so. This battle was known as the Northern Sand Continent's strongest battle in 100 years. It involved 9 godly lords of the Nihility God realm, hundreds of powerful forces, and a Nihility God Level 8 Spirit Bird. There were heavy casualties. 2 godly lords of the Nihility God realm died. Oyangjun had fallen in battle, died at the hands of the Dragon Soul. Invincible Sect Master Wu Yufan had been killed by Yunding's spectral sword. Broken Flower City's Lord Yang Batian had died in battle. Yunding's daughter Yunchan had sacrificed herself, and Sea Medicine Sect Master Huafei had been killed. Cloud Summit and White Spirit Bird escaped with heavy injuries. Li Tao lost half an arm and left with the disciples of Ling Xian Kingdom. Dragon Soul was also heavily injured. Witchcraft Sect, Invincible Sect, Thunderbolt Sect, and other sects all suffered casualties. The battle seemed fierce, but it ended in an hour. Outside Zixia City, blood flowed like a river, blending with the sunset. Qin Feng was still unaware of all this. He was driving the flying cloud all to Ling Xian Kingdom. After flying for a day and a night, Qin Feng received President Darklight's flying sword message. After reading the message, Qin Feng was a little confused. The message was very short. President Darklight told him not to return to Ling Xian Kingdom and to immediately go to the Darklight Merchant Guild's base to discuss something important. As for what it was, he did not go into detail. Chapter 1836. The Blacklight Merchant Guild's base was closer than the Spirit Immortal Kingdom, but it was not located in the mall. Instead, it was a secret base built by the Blacklight Merchant Guild. Apart from important members of the Blacklight Merchant Guild, no one else knew about this place. Qin Feng had obtained a map of the Blacklight Merchant Guild's base from the SMS. After flying for 3 days and 3 nights, he arrived at this remote mountain. As soon as the flying cloud all landed, Qin Feng felt a powerful aura surging towards him. President Darklight's clone was already floating in the air. "You actually made it here alive?" This was Darklight's first sentence when he saw Qin Feng. His tone was filled with shock and doubt. Qin Feng was confused. He did not understand what Darklight meant. Zhang Cuckoo pouted and complained, "Hey, what do you mean? How dare you curse Big Brother Qin Feng?" Zhang Cuckoo was fearless. She did not care if the other party was the president of the second largest merchant guild in the Northern Sand Continent or a virtual god powerhouse. Darklight was not angry either. There was still a lingering shock in his eyes. He was in disbelief when he recalled the unprecedented battle outside the Purple Cloud City a few days ago. "Let's talk inside." Darklight's clone disappeared in a flash. The void returned to normal, as if he had never appeared. With a disciple leading the way, the three of them arrived at a room deep inside the base. Darklight was already waiting in the room. His expression was not as deep as before. President Darklight, did something happen? Qianfen had already noticed something fishy. There was no one else in the room, and a soundproof formation was set up. Darklight was slightly surprised. President Qin, haven't you received the news? What news? I've been flying in the air for the past few days without stopping. Qianfen felt uneasy. His sixth sense told him that something big must have happened. However, he could not figure it out. Theoretically, the China Merchant Guild and the Spirit Immortal Kingdom were on the right track. He did not think that something would happen to the team, led by the Barefoot Enlightened Master. To him, his team was even stronger than the forces of the Soaring Dragon Merchant Guild. Darklight sighed when he saw Qianfen's confused face. 3 days ago, an unprecedented battle happened outside Purple Cloud City. 9 virtual god realm ultimate gods and a level 8 spirit bird participated in the battle. You must know about this, right? Qianfen's heart almost jumped out of his throat. Of course he knew about this, because those people were confronting each other outside Zixia City because of him. However, he did not expect that to be the case. He immediately realized the important information in He Yao's words. How could it be 9 virtual god ultimate gods? Before he could ask, He Yao continued, there were many casualties in that battle. The reclusive, immortal Reverend Barefoot Immortal escaped with severe injuries. His daughter, Yin Chan, was unfortunately killed. City Governor Ouyang Jun, who had just entered the virtual god realm, was killed. The Invincible sect leader, Wu Yufan, was killed. The Broken Flower City's city governor, Yang Batian, and Hua Fei, one by one, the names of those who died in battle came out of Darklight's mouth. More than half of them were names that Qianfen couldn't be more familiar with. His eyes were bloodshot, and he gritted his teeth. He turned around and was about to kill his way back to Purple Cloud City. President Qin, where are you going? He Yao asked immediately. Those people died for me. I'm going to avenge them. Qianfen said while gritting his teeth. He Yao's doppelganger blocked his way. You're too impulsive now. Calm down. The battle ended 3 days ago. You won't be able to find anyone even if you kill your way back to Purple Cloud City. With your current strength, I'm afraid you'll have to sacrifice yourself before you can eliminate a few of them. You have to think about this carefully. He Yao's words made sense. Xiao Li and Zhang Kuku grabbed Qianfen's arms and looked at him with worry. Qianfen was burning with anger. Otherwise, he would not have lost his mind. He knew that he would die if he went out now. Those sects and forces might be waiting for him to die. However, Qianfen was filled with grief when he thought about Ouyang Jun's death. Not long ago, the two of them had broken through together and killed Han Nangong of Xian Medical Sect. The Barefoot Immortal was also severely injured and his daughter was killed. The Broken Flower City's city governor, Yang Batian, and the Sea Medicine sect leader, Hua Fei, were all good friends of Qianfen. How did this happen? Who injured Senior Barefoot Immortal? Qianfen finally calmed down after a while. He could not figure out the reason behind this. He Yao sighed and said, the secluded immortal Reverend Dongxian Su, Infinite Sea, and Beichen appeared. They were the ones who injured Senior Cloudy Summit and defeated the forces that helped you. Qianfen was stunned. He did not expect Dongxian Su and Infinite Sea to appear. It was also Qianfen's first time hearing about that old man called Beichen. Why did they show up? He Yao was also stunned by this question. He had been thinking about this question since the unparalleled battle 3 days ago. However, he could not figure it out. I'm not sure about this. However, I've sent someone to ask around. Those 3 secluded immortal reverends seem to have gone on a killing spree for you. For me, Qianfen was shocked. He suddenly recalled something. When he was breaking through in Spirit Immortal Kingdom, he triggered a lightning tribulation and lured Dongxian, Su, and Infinite Sea over. Later on, Long Qianjun appeared and lied that it was his breakthrough that triggered the Void God Realm lightning tribulation. That was how he managed to fool the 2 secluded immortal reverends. Now that he thought about it, Qianfen knew that they must have noticed something. Qin Fen had helped Yangjun resist the Void God Realm lightning tribulation not long ago. It was very different from the 9 changes true lightning tribulation triggered by his breakthrough. Even if Dongxian, Su, and Infinite Sea were fooled, they would have found out later on. If Dong Xuanzi and Wu Yanghai were the ones who had seen through the 9 transformations true lightning, then things would be much easier to explain. The two of them must have found out that he had triggered the Divine Supreme Continent's lightning tribulation and realized that he was the tribulation taker, which was why they came looking for him. Qin Fen blamed himself after figuring out what had happened. The reason why he sneaked in was because he thought that Cloudy Summit and the others would be fine. If he had known that this would happen, he would have followed them even if he had to fight to the death instead of leaving on his own. President He Yao, do you know where Dongxian, Su, and the others are? A chill suddenly shot out from Qin Fen's body. The boundless killing intent made He Yao nervous. You're not a match for them yet. You just die if you go. The reason why I called you here is to prevent them from setting up an ambush outside Spirit Immortal Kingdom. The He Yao trading firm's intercontinental airship is about to depart. Why don't you go to the South Pingzhou continent and stay there for a while? You can come back when you're strong enough. Chapter 1837. The secluded immortal venerables of the North Sand continent had always been elusive. Even He Yao didn't know where Dongxian, Su, and the others were. In the end, Qin Fen calmed down and listened to He Yao's suggestion. He had to take revenge, but the time was not ripe yet. If he rushed over, not only would he fail to take revenge, he would also lose his life. He Yao's intercontinental airship would depart in 7 days. Qin Fen used this time to insist on returning to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Firstly, this trip to the South Flat Continent was extremely dangerous, so he couldn't bring Zhang Kuku and Xiao Li along. Secondly, the system had issued a mission of arrive at Spirit Immortal Kingdom safely, so Qin Fen had to complete it. Seeing that he couldn't persuade Qin Fen, He Yao finally compromised and expressed his willingness to escort Qin Fen. However, Qin Fen knew what He Yao was thinking. This was only on the surface. If they encountered Dongxian, Su, and the others along the way, He Yao would definitely turn and leave. Even so, Qin Fen was grateful to He Yao from the bottom of his heart. If it wasn't for the flying sword message, Qin Fen felt that he would most likely be dead by now. Since he knew that the enemy might be lying in ambush outside Spirit Immortal Kingdom, Qin Fen naturally made ample preparations. He specially spent 500,000 hedonist points to buy a grade 7 hidden formation disc from the system. Although the price made his heart ache under the threat of Dongxian, Su, and the other 2 secluded immortal venerables, he had to make sure nothing went wrong. It was Qin Fen's first time coming into contact with a grade 7 formation disc. It wasn't just him, it was also He Yao's first time coming into contact with such a high-grade formation disc. Even though he often went to the South Flat Continent to purchase treasures, he could only find grade 6 formation discs at most. Moreover, it would be lucky if he could find one in 3 years. He Yao even guessed that there was probably no one in the entire South Flat Continent who could refine a grade 7 king formation. Not only were array masters rare in the Northern Sand region, they were also a talent even rarer than alchemists in the other 3 continents. Usually, only those who had reached level 4 in arrays could be called array masters, level 5 spiritual array masters, level 6 array masters, level 7 array kings, level 8 array immortals. When Qin Fen looked at the grade 7 hidden formation disc, he couldn't help but sigh. He was only a grade 4 formation master. Who knew how long it would take for him to become a grade 7 formation king? After collecting his thoughts, Qin Fen immediately started to perfect the level 7 concealment formation disc. He had specifically asked He Yao about it, and with the level 7 concealment emperor formation, even immortal venerables like Dong Xuanzi wouldn't be able to discover the soaring cloud all. The Black Radiant Merchant Guild's base was not far from the Kingdom of Spirits. After 2 days and 2 nights, the soaring cloud all had already reached the wilderness outside the Kingdom of Spirits. This was originally a mortal city, the Kingdom of Zhanma. Now that Qin Fen had merged with it, it had become the massive Kingdom of Spirits. He Yao Yao was. Hey Yao 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 King. It feels weird. Dark light suddenly frowned. Qin Fen's heart skipped a beat. Before he left, he hid 2 energy star stones under the spiritual immortal mountain. These energy star stones did not belong to the Divine Supreme mainland. If He Yao could see through their secrets, then wouldn't Dongxian, Su, and the others be able to? However, Qin Feng quickly calmed down. He saw that the spirit immortal kingdom was still peaceful and peaceful. There were no signs of battle. What does President He Yao mean? Qin Feng asked. He Yao frowned. He carefully scanned the spirit's immortal kingdom with the senses of his soul, but he shook his head. There's a strange presence here. It's the first time I've sensed something like this, but I can't find the source of it, so it's a little strange. Qin Feng was shocked. He Yao really did find the dragon, but why couldn't he find it? With He Yao's empty god cultivation, he should be able to scan a few hundred miles with his divine sense. The dragon was only a few hundred meters underground, so he should be able to find it easily. However, Qin Feng couldn't ask He Yao. He Yao didn't even find the dragon. He couldn't just tell He Yao the location and ask him why he couldn't find it. However, he didn't need to ask because Little Pig's voice already sounded in his mind. Master, the Energy Star Stone is a product of a high-level realm. The Divine Supreme, mainland's hollow god realm cultivators can't even sense it. When their divine senses pass through the range of the Energy Star Stone, it will be absorbed by the Star Stone's magnetic field. It's like being swept into a black hole. Qin Feng was shocked once again. He was more and more curious about what plane of existence the star technology was from. How could it be so powerful? At the same time, he also understood why Dongxian, Su, and the others couldn't find the Energy Star Stone. The soaring cloud all entered the sky above Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Qin Feng purposely slowed down, afraid that a godly Lord Void God's clone would appear out of nowhere. Shit, there's an ambush here. Before Qin Feng realized anything, He Yao frowned. The 2 girls became nervous. Zhang Kuku asked, President He Yao, what did you find? Their cultivation bases were too low. They didn't sense any danger hiding in the ground. They couldn't even find a trace of unfamiliar aura. He Yao's frown relaxed. He said with a sigh, it's a level 7 concealment formation indeed. It managed to hide from the divine sense of 3 secluded immortal venerables. Looks like I was right. Dongxian, Su, and the others are guarding the city gate entrance a few thousand meters away. Their divine sense has covered the entire spirit immortal kingdom. Not even a fly can escape from them. However, they didn't notice anything strange, even though the soaring cloud all has been scanned by their divine sense a few times. Qin Feng and the others were relieved. They looked at their palms subconsciously. Their palms were covered in a layer of cold sweat. Those were 3 secluded divine venerables. Because of their participation, the battle outside Zixia City a few days ago was reversed. Even Yun Ding had to escape after being severely injured. Qin Feng couldn't help but think that if the flying cloud all was discovered, it would be hard for him to escape death this time. Half an hour later, the soaring cloud all landed at the foot of Mount Spirit Immortal in the innermost part of Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Mount Spirit Immortal was long gone. Dongxian Su had noticed something was wrong with Mount Spirit Immortal when Qin Feng triggered the lightning tribulation last time. Qin Feng had kept the Energy Star Stone in advance and was very nervous. Now that he knew that the Energy Star Stone could block the divine sense, he realized that he was too nervous that day. Although the soaring cloud all landed safely, Qin Feng dared not go out. Not only him, even He Yao did not dare to disembark. Guild leader Qin, let's just stay on the soaring cloud pike. If we go out, we'll be immediately detected by the divine sense. At that time, we'll be in big trouble. He Yao showed a rare, serious expression. He was really afraid in front of 3 secluded immortal venerables. Qin Feng knew the severity of the situation. He asked Zhang Kuku and Xiao Li to disembark. The 2 women did not follow Qin Feng often. Even the people who were lying in ambush outside Zixia City a few days ago did not know about their existence, let alone Dongxian Su and the other 2. When the 2 women disembarked, Qin Feng and He Yao were still nervous. However, They were relieved when they saw that the two women had blended into the crowd without any trouble. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Fun, for safely arriving at Spirit Immortal Kingdom. The Hedonist Sovereign System has rewarded host Qin Fun 1 million Hedonist points. Host Qin Fun's total Hedonist points, 1,929,000 Hedonist points. The system notification sounded. Qin Fun calculated that he still needed 3,700,000 Hedonist points to become a rank 9 Hedonist mortal. He still had 1,929,000 Hedonist points. He only needed 1,700,000 Hedonist points to level up. Soon, Zhang Kuku and Xiao Li brought the other women over. The two women were smart. They did not bring all of them at once. Instead, they came to see Qin Fun one by one to avoid arousing Dong Xian, Su, and the other two suspicions. Qin Fun could not disembark from the soaring cloud all. His women did not dare to disembark from the soaring cloud all either. There was a concealment formation on the soaring cloud all. If someone disembarked from the soaring cloud all, their aura would suddenly disappear. It might be fine if it happened once or twice, but if it happened a few more times, the three secluded immortal venerables would definitely notice. The women stood outside while Qin Fun stood at the entrance of the soaring cloud all. They looked at each other. Although they were only a meter apart, it felt like there was an insurmountable gap between them. The news of the unparalleled battle from a few days ago had already spread throughout the northern sand continent. Even the Spirit Immortal Kingdom had received the news. However, the women had not heard any news about Qin Fun, so they were at a loss for what to do. Now that they saw that Qin Fun was safe and sound, they felt as if the world had warmed up. Ing bei bei ruo ro. Don't cry. I'm going to the South Pingzhou continent. I promise everyone that I'll be back soon. I'm sure you've heard about the unparalleled battle not long ago. Ouyang Jun, Hua Fei, Yang Batian, and many others died because of me. I must avenge them. Hearing Qin Fun's farewell, the women's tears flowed uncontrollably. They nodded resolutely. Revenge was their wish. If it wasn't for Qin Fun not wanting to bring them along, they would have followed him to the South Pingzhou continent. After a while, Lu Jie and the others arrived. Li Tao's severed hand was reattached. However, it was not a human hand. It looked more like a snow wolf's foreleg. Qin Fun knew that Li Tao cultivated the little chrysanthemum treasure book, which had a godly bloodline skill. It could absorb the blood of spiritual beasts to improve one's bloodline. Even so, Qin Fun's heart bled when he saw Li Tao's wolf claw. Don't worry, brothers. Qin Fun, will definitely avenge everyone. If I don't, I'm not a man. Qin Fun swore in front of everyone. Everyone nodded resolutely. In fact, even if he didn't say it, everyone understood his character. Li Tao maintained a relaxed smile. He did not want Qin Fun to blame himself too much. As for Lu Jie, Yunzhe, Xing Sanfang, and the others, they lowered their heads in silence. They did not go to Violet Cloud City a few days ago and did not experience the unparalleled battle. At this moment, they felt extremely guilty. After saying goodbye, Qin Fun gave Lu Jie the grade 6 defense formation that Taoist Barefoot gave him. When Qin Fun saw the defense formation, he couldn't help but think of Yunfeng. That old senior was righteous and righteous. He wholeheartedly thought of all the cultivators of the divine continent. However, in the unparalleled battle, he was severely injured and had to flee. He even lost his precious daughter. The anger in Qin Fun's heart burned again. Although he was reluctant, he gritted his teeth, closed the cabin door, and flew away. He didn't know how long it would be before they could meet again. There was something he didn't dare to say to everyone. If I don't come back in 3 years, I should be dead. Chapter 1838. Qin Fun had asked around for a way to get to the other continents. There were only 2 ways to get to the other 3 continents from the North Sand continent. One was to reach the true spirit realm and go to the South Flat continent and the West Sea continent. The other was to get a recommendation from a large chamber of commerce. Qin Fun had only considered the first method because he only knew about the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and had a feud with them. They wouldn't send him to the other continents. He had never expected that he would use the second method to get to the South Flat continent. However, He was using the Black Light Chamber of Commerce's aircraft. This was because Qin Fan was on the spaceship this time. President Darklight personally led the team. This intercontinental spaceship could accommodate 10,000 people at the same time and carry 10,000 tons of cargo. However, its speed was not slow at all. In fact, it was even faster than Qin Fan's soaring cloud all. At this time, it was flying in the clouds like a rapidly flying mountain. Qin Fan sat in the aircraft and couldn't help but wish that he could own such an aircraft. Then, he would be able to fly between the 4 continents of the Divine Continent. However, he knew that such an aircraft was very expensive and would require some high-grade materials to build. At least, he couldn't build it with his current financial resources. President Qin, we'll reach the South Flat Continent in half a month. Darklight walked into Qin Fan's room. President Darklight, please tell me more about the South Flat Continent. Qin Fan was going to the South Flat Continent with a desire for revenge. He knew that it was more suitable for cultivation. When he got there, he planned to find an opportunity to break through. Once he reached the Empty God Realm, he would immediately return to the North Sand Continent to take revenge. Darklight seemed to read Qin Fan's mind. He sighed and said, President Qin, revenge can't be rushed. I'm even worried if you can survive in the South Flat Continent. As everyone knows, the North Sand Continent has the least spiritual energy among the 4 continents of the Divine Continent. It's called the wilderness of cultivation. Although the South Flat Continent is the second last, the spiritual energy there's more than 10 times denser than the North Sand Continent. In the North Sand Continent, 5-star sects are the highest, and Empty God Realm powerhouses are the top. However, in the South Flat Continent, there are many 5-star sects and some 6-star and 7-star sections. Empty God Realm powerhouses are not the top there. There are even more powerhouses above the Empty God Realm. Qin Fan had always known that the South Flat Continent was stronger than the North Sand Continent, but it was just a general concept. After listening to Dark Light's detailed introduction of the South Flat Continent, he couldn't help but worry. He was only at the 7 changes of Buddha aura. Even if he could kill cultivators at the early stage of the True Spirit Realm in the South Flat Continent, the True Spirit Realm was only considered a mid-tier cultivation standard. At the same time, Qin Fan realized something else. He immediately asked in shock, isn't the true God above the virtual God? Rumor has it that a true God Realm cultivator is already one of the strongest cultivators in the entire Divine Continent. Could it be that the rumor is false? Darklight shook his head and said, the rumor is true. The true God Realm is already one of the top cultivators in the entire Divine Continent. However, the division of realms you mentioned is passed down from 10,000 years ago. At that time, after the virtual God Realm, one would have to step into the true God Realm. However, as the Divine Continent developed, it's hard to find a true God Realm powerhouse in the 4 continents in 1,000 years. After a few hundred years of changes, the ultimate gods who are also at the virtual God Realm are very different. Some of them can even kill other virtual gods in seconds. Hence, everyone divided the realms between the virtual God Realm and the true God Realm. After the virtual God Realm, it's the body condensation realm, cauldron filling realm, disaster transformation realm, true form realm, and finally the true God Realm. Qin Fan's horizons were broadened. He was also planning to go to the South Flat Continent this time. Otherwise, he didn't know when he would be able to learn about the realms after the virtual God Realm. If that's the case, the few immortal venerables in the North Sand Continent might be at the body condensation realm, or even higher. Qin Fan suddenly asked. Dark Light smiled bitterly. You're thinking too much. They're also at the virtual God Realm, but they're at the late stage or peak stage. They're naturally much stronger than us who are at the early stage of the virtual God Realm. Based on the spiritual energy density in the North Sand Continent, I personally think that the peak stage of the virtual God Realm is the limit. Those who can break through to the body condensation realm are cultivation geniuses that only appear once in 1,000 years. Qin Fan slowly felt that his decision to go to the South Flat Continent was the right one. Even if the unprecedented battle in the North Sand Continent did not happen, he should have gone to the South Flat Continent earlier, as it would have been faster to break through. Don't worry, President Darklight. I'll cultivate like crazy in the South Flat Continent. When I step into the North Sand Continent again, I'll repay you for your kindness, said Qin Fun. Dark Light patted his shoulder. Let's not talk about repayment. I actually have high hopes for you, because you're the most talented cultivator I've ever seen. The cultivators of the South Flat Continent have always rejected cultivators from the outside, especially those from the North Sand Continent. Survival is the most important thing when you go there. Nothing else matters. Qin Feng could tell from He Yao's eyes that He Yao wasn't optimistic about his revenge plan. In other words, to He Yao, it was already a miracle that Qin Feng was still alive in the South Flat Continent. As for his cultivation breakthrough, it wasn't within his consideration anymore. Of course, Qin Feng knew that Dark Light wasn't looking down on him. This meant that the cultivation sects and factions in the South Flat Continent were powerful. However, when he thought of the hedonist sovereign system and the creation of heaven and earth skill, Qin Feng quickly calmed down. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he became famous in the South Flat Continent. After talking about some matters in the South Flat Continent, Qin Feng began to cultivate in peace. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. When he opened his eyes again, he felt that his dantian was slightly expanding. This was a sign that he was about to break through to the 8 changes of Buddha aura. Qin Feng was puzzled. Under normal circumstances, half a month wasn't enough for him to break through. However, he quickly understood why the surrounding spiritual energy had become so dense. President Qin, you're out of seclusion. Dark Light's voice sounded in his ears. He continued, we've entered the territory of the South Flat Continent. Although we're still in the outermost airspace, the spiritual energy here is 5 to 6 times denser than in the North Sand Continent. Qin Feng suddenly realized that he had arrived at the South Flat Continent. He immediately looked out of the window. The scenery outside was lush and green. He felt that going from the North Sand Continent to the South Flat Continent was like going from the north of China to the south. After a few hours, the intercontinental aircrafts began to land. There were a few huge aircrafts parked at the side of the huge open space. This is the foreign trade port of the South Flat Continent. All foreign aircrafts have to land here and return to their continent after completing the transaction, Dark Light explained. Qin Feng couldn't help but think of the customs and airports of various countries on Earth. At the same time, he realized a serious problem. According to Dark Light, they had to leave after completing the transaction. How was he going to enter the South Flat Continent? Chapter 1839. Just as Qin Feng was worrying, Dark Light took out a paper talisman and handed it to him. This is a level 7 invisibility talisman. Use it to escape during the chaos. We'll meet again. The parting words made Qin Feng a little sad, but it also ignited his fighting spirit. It had been a tough journey. From a powerless hedonistic young master to the peak of China, to the top of the small world, and now he was famous in the North Sand Continent. However, he had to embark on a new journey to face a completely unfamiliar and powerful continent. A black shadow flew past at an extremely fast speed. It was Qin Feng who had activated the level 7 invisibility talisman. At this moment, Qin Feng was extremely nervous. He realized that the cultivators guarding the intercontinental gateway were of terrifying realms. Most of them were at the true spirit realm, and there were even a few nihility gods. What he didn't know was that these cultivators were only average in the South Flat Continent. Fortunately, the level 7 invisibility talisman could block the spiritual consciousness of an early-stage virtual god cultivator. Qin Feng successfully flew out of the border. However, he did not dare to stop. He flew for thousands of miles before stopping to catch his breath. In front of him was a dense forest. Along the way, Qin Feng didn't see many people. He knew that this was the outskirts of the South Flat Continent, a place where no one appeared. However, what shocked him was that the spiritual energy in this abandoned land by the South Flat Continent's cultivators was many times greater than that in the North Sand Continent. Qin Feng did not have a map of the South Flat Continent. He could only walk aimlessly. He thought that it would be great if he could meet a cultivator along the way and ask for the location of the Sand City. Qin Feng had come to the South Flat Continent to do 2 things. One was to find Hua Xianyu and his other friends and relatives who had been teleported to the South Flat Continent. The other was to break through crazily and return to the North Sand Continent to take revenge. Qin Fen realized that Hua Xianyu wasn't the only one who had been teleported to the South Pingzhou Continent. There were probably many other Chinese martial artists and even family members he didn't know about in this land. However, he only knew Hua Xianyu's whereabouts. He had heard it from Al Shun, a disciple of the South Pingzhou Continent's Thousand Swords sect in the Fallen God Sea's secret realm. At that time, Qin Fen had given Al Shun a lot of medicinal pills in order to let him take care of Hua Xianyu. However, Qin Fen could see that Al Shun was a two-faced person, so he didn't have much hope for him. Now that he was in the South Flat Continent, Qin Fen tried to use the Heroes Alliance function to call Hua Xianyu. However, after waiting for a long time, Hua Xianyu didn't reply. Later, Little Pig told him that the system had just arrived in the South Flat Continent and was disrupted by the strong magnetic field here. Qin Fen immediately discovered something even more tragic. He had lost contact with Lin Bei and the others in the North Sand Continent. Since there was no path under his feet, he would carve a path for himself. After flying aimlessly for 3 days and 3 nights, he finally saw people in the wilderness. He even saw 3 people. Cultivator, please come over for a chat. When Qin Fen discovered those 3 people, they also discovered his existence. Moreover, before Qin Fen could go over, one of them had already spoken. With a flash of golden light, the flying sword landed on the ground with Qin Fen. After a simple scan, the 3 people's realms were not bad. 2 of them were in the advanced stage of Buddha light, and the middle-aged man who spoke was in the early stage of true spirit. Qin Fen had already realized that their auras weren't strong enough, so he landed. Otherwise, even if he hoped to meet a passerby, he would have left without hesitation. Just as He Yao had warned him before leaving, survival in the South Flat Continent was the most important thing. Cultivator, where are you from? Where are you going? The true spirit realm, Cultivator asked. Qin Fen came here with his original identity and didn't intentionally suppress his realm. He originally wanted to say that he was from the North Sand Continent, but when he thought about how the cultivators here look down on people from the North Sand Continent, he changed his answer. I want to go to the Sand City. Can you guys show me the way? Qin Fen said politely. The 3 people looked at each other, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. The true spirit realm cultivator laughed and said, "Haha, we're going to the Sand City too. Why don't you come with us?" Qin Fen noticed the strange look in their eyes, but he still followed them. After all, he was completely unfamiliar with this place. Moreover, even if the 3 of them had any ill intentions, Qin Fen wasn't afraid of them. Along the way, the 3 of them didn't speak much. Or rather, the other 2 didn't speak at all. It was the true spirit realm cultivator who asked Qin Fen a few questions from time to time, and the content of the questions were all basic information about Qin Fen. Brother Wang, why did you stop? After walking for an hour, the 3 of them stopped. After talking along the way, Qin Fen found out that the true spirit realm cultivator was called Wang Xiao, but he wasn't sure if the name was real or not. There was a row of houses 100 meters away, surrounded by walls. Qin Fen guessed where this place was, and the 3 people in front of him weren't going to the Sand City. They were most likely planning to bring him here. Huh, brat, stop pretending. You're not from the South Flat Continent. The cultivator called Wang Xiao suddenly laughed loudly. He was a completely different person from the friendly and amiable look he had before. Qin Fen's heart turned cold. He was sure that the 3 of them didn't have good intentions, but he wasn't afraid. Instead, he felt that the 3 of them were unlucky to have tricked him. You're right. I'm indeed from the North Sand Continent. But so what? Qin Fen's expression turned slightly cold. Wang Xiao was stunned. Not only him, but the other 2 Buddha's light realm cultivators also revealed surprised expressions. It turned out that the 3 of them were rogue cultivators who had gathered together due to common interests. Usually, they would put the cultivators from the North Sand Continent under house arrest. They had captured over 100 cultivators from the North Sand Continent over the past year. Every time they exposed their identities, those cultivators would tremble in fear. When they looked at Qin Fen again, he didn't seem nervous or afraid at all. Humph. An ant from the North Sand continent dares to step into the sacred land of the South Flat continent. What do you think? After coming back to his senses, Wang Xiu glared at Qin Fun, and a ferocious aura shot out from his body. He thought that the aura of a true spirit realm cultivator would scare Qin Fun into kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Unexpectedly, Qin Fun's expression didn't change at all. Instead, his tone became colder. We're all cultivators from the divine supreme continent. What right do you have to feel superior to others? You're merely born in the South Flat continent. This is your innate advantage, but it's not something you can show off. The three of them were speechless and looked at Qin Fun as though they were looking at an idiot. You're an interesting cultivator. You're obviously a lowly cultivator, but you're still trying to find excuses to prove yourself. All right, you think that I'm looking down on you North Sand Continent cultivators, right? Then defeat me if you have the guts. Otherwise, you'll be my slave for life. The three of them could tell that Qin Fun was only at the Buddha's light realm, and they were only looking for cultivators at or below the Buddha's light realm. If there was a true spirit realm expert, they wouldn't take the risk. A true spirit realm cultivator fighting against a Buddha's light realm cultivator made Wang Xiu very confident. He was even waiting for Qin Fun to beg for mercy. He knew that Qin Fun was just putting on a strong front. Indeed, Qin Fun didn't agree to his suggestion directly. Instead, he said, I won't fight with you alone because you're not worthy to be my opponent. If you want to fight, sure. But the three of you have to come at me together. Otherwise, I won't fight. The three of them were speechless again. When they came back to their senses, one of the late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivators had already punched out. You're indeed a frog at the bottom of a well from the North Sand continent. I'll teach you a lesson. Since they were both late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivators, that South Flat continent cultivator was very confident. Logically speaking, South Flat continent cultivators were much stronger than North Sand continent cultivators at the same cultivation realm. A loud explosion was heard. Qin Fun didn't dodge. Standing on the spot, he welcomed the attack with a ferocious special-grade Thunder Tiger flying sword fist. The three of them didn't hear the subtle sword hum hidden in the loud explosion. However, when that Buddha's light realm cultivator was about to punch out a second time, their expressions changed drastically. He felt that his body was suddenly out of control. There were also subtle, shattering sounds coming from his body. The sounds became more and more intense, and a piercing pain spread throughout his body. The eyeballs of his two companions fell to the ground. They saw his skin crack open, and even his bones and internal organs started to shatter. In a short 2 seconds, there was another muffled sound. He had already exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. The air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. The remaining two were stunned on the spot, feeling as though they were dreaming. Wang Xiu was the first to wake up. His voice trembled slightly. You hid your strength? Bang! Just as he finished speaking, a golden light pierced through the air. Following that, there was a loud explosion. The late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivator beside him also exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. Hiss! Wang Xiu sucked in a breath of cold air. Although Qin Fun didn't answer his question, the answer was already very obvious. This young guy in front of him was definitely hiding his strength. Kid, consider yourself lucky. Today's matter ends here. You should leave quickly. Wang Xiu was no longer confident. In fact, he could also kill his two companions in the late-stage Buddha's light realm. However, he couldn't do it as cleanly as Qin Fun. He even suspected that the other party's true cultivation was stronger than his. Thinking of this, Wang Xiu began to wonder again. Wasn't the other party a cultivator from the northern sand region? How could such a young and powerful cultivator appear in that cultivation wasteland that was lacking in spiritual qi? Or did the other party eat a beautifying elixir? When these thoughts flashed through his mind, Wang Xiu found that Qin Fun still hadn't left. He suddenly became a little angry. He pointed at Qin Fun and scolded, Kid, don't think that I'm really afraid of you. Do you see the row of houses behind me? That is my base. There are many of my subordinates and my big brother guarding it. You are at most in the mid-stage true spirit realm. If you wait for me to call out my big brother and my subordinates, you will die a horrible death. When Qianfen saw the row of houses, he had already scanned it with his divine sense. He did sense a powerful aura, but it was only in the late-stage true spirit realm. Qianfen had joined forces with Ouyang Jun in the northern sand region. They had even killed a Nihility God Realm cultivator. How could he be afraid of a late-stage true spirit realm cultivator? Chapter 1840. Speak. Why did you trick me to come here? What's going on in that room? Qianfen had not only sensed the aura of a late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator, he had also sensed the auras of hundreds of Sage Kings and Buddha Light realm cultivators. There were even a few weak Immortal Qi realm cultivators. Follow? Dream? For a moment, he was puzzled. If everyone in this room belonged to Wang Xiu's faction, then Wang Xiu wouldn't let him off. I advise you not to ask so many questions. Before I change my mind, get out of here. Wang Xiu cursed. Qianfen's face turned cold and a strong killing intent radiated from his body. He had killed countless people in the northern sand continent. The moment his killing intent appeared, it felt like it was about to solidify. Wang Xiu subconsciously took a few steps back. He looked at Qianfen in disbelief. He really couldn't understand how this young kid could have such a strong killing intent. You want to trick me to come here, and you want me to leave? Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Qianfen's voice was still echoing when a golden light pierced through the void and arrived in front of Wang Xiu. Wang Xiu immediately sent out a palm strike, and a true Yuan palm print knocked the flying sword away. At the same time, he turned into a black shadow and flew towards the house. Senior brother Wang Jun, someone is here to cause trouble. Wang Xiu shouted as he ran. He was already panicking. Just from that simple exchange, he realized that he wasn't Qianfen's match. The flying sword was only temporarily knocked off course. When the palm print in the air dissipated, the golden light flashed and the flying sword appeared behind Wang Xiu. A strong aura of death quickly approached. Wang Xiu wanted to dodge, but he felt a powerful divine sense attack. His movements suddenly slowed down, and he felt that the flying sword would pierce his heart in the next second. Bang! There was a loud explosion, but it wasn't the sound of skin being cut. The movement was much louder. Wang Xiu felt the divine sense attack suddenly disappear. His body jumped 100 meters and landed below the wall. Senior brother, it's that kid who came to cause trouble. He's a cultivator from a northern sand continent. Wang Xiu had just stabilized his footing when he realized that it was his senior brother Wang Jun. At this moment, he felt a lingering fear in his heart. If not for his senior brother's timely arrival, he would have died under the sword of his opponent. A middle-aged man wearing a gray robe stood at the entrance of the wall with a cold gaze. After sizing up Qianfen, he scolded Wang Xiu. How shameful. A mere Buddha light stage cultivator from the northern sand continent actually scared you to this extent. Wang Xiu had a stomach full of grievances. He wanted to say that the other party had hidden his strength and was definitely not at the Buddha light realm. However, when the words reached his mouth, he didn't say them out loud. At the end of the day, Qianfen was a cultivator from the North Sand continent. No matter how strong the other party was, being chased and beaten by a cultivator from the North Sand continent was a humiliation in the South Plateau continent. Brat, are you going to kill yourself? Or do you want me to do it? After reprimanding his junior brother, Wang Jun's gaze landed on Qianfen again. From his arrogant expression, it was obvious that he didn't care about Qianfen at all. The moment this guy appeared, Qianfen had already checked him from head to toe. Qianfen was sure that this guy was the owner of the strongest aura that he had sensed with his divine sense not long ago. He originally thought that the aura was at the middle true spirit realm, but it seemed that the other party had already stepped into the late true spirit realm. With Qianfen's current cultivation, he was invincible among the early true spirit realm cultivators. Even if he encountered a middle true spirit realm cultivator, he would be able to kill him with a little more effort. However, if he encountered a late true spirit realm cultivator, it would be very difficult to kill him. This was the situation in the North Sand continent. Qianfen knew that the cultivators from the South Plateau continent were generally stronger than the cultivators from the North Sand Continent. At this moment, facing a late true spirit realm cultivator from the South Plateau Continent, Qin Fun was more or less on guard. Perhaps it will be more difficult to kill you, but that's all. If you want to kill me, that's just a fool's dream. Although he was on guard, Qin Fun was definitely not afraid of Wang Jun. Moreover, this guy had displayed an arrogant attitude the moment he appeared, which made Qin Fun very unhappy. A single sentence ignited the flames of war. Wang Jun's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and a ferocious aura surged from his body. Senior brother, did you hear that? That ant from the North Sand Continent actually dares to be so arrogant. Senior brother must teach him a lesson and let him know what kind of place he is. Wang Xiu felt that the conflict wasn't deep enough and immediately added fuel to the fire. Just as he finished speaking, Wang Jun struck out a palm in the air. A huge true essence palm print rose up and flew towards Qin Fun in the blink of an eye. Rumble. That palm strike missed and left a deep pit on the ground. A golden radiance flickered in the sky and actually flew towards Wang Jun. As expected, you hid your strength. However, you are still an ant in front of me. A look of surprise flashed in Wang Jun's eyes. He realized that Qin Fun had already stepped into the early stage of true spirit realm. Even Wang Jun felt that it was unbelievable for such a young, true spirit realm cultivator from the North Sand Continent. Just as he was in a daze, thousands of silver spear lights descended from the sky. Every spear light pierced through the air and let out ear-piercing whistles. The spear shadows overlapped and condensed, as though they were real spears. True treasure spear? Kid, you are not from a North Sand Continent. Under the thousands of spear lights, Wang Jun's eyes flashed with a hint of panic. He immediately stepped on his flying sword and retreated. Just as he was in midair, the ground he was standing on previously gave off a series of loud noises. The wall behind him had been blasted into ruins. Not only was Wang Jun shocked, Wang Xiu was even more stunned. True treasure weapons were extremely rare. Even in the South Flat Continent, they weren't commonly seen. Qin Fun, a cultivator from a North Sand Continent, actually had such a weapon. Moreover, Wang Xiu and Wang Jun could tell that the Dragon Quake Spear in Qin Fun's hands was a high-grade true treasure. This kid was definitely not a cultivator from a North Sand Continent. Seeing that his origins were being questioned, Qin Fun laughed in his heart. He was originally a cultivator from the Northern Sand Continent. It was just that he was a little special. The Dragon Tremor Spear in his hands was obtained from a system after he had subdued the White Spirit Godbird, and the system rewarded him with a true equipment drawing scroll. In the Northern Sand Continent, even a true spirit-level cultivator would find it difficult to obtain a low-grade true equipment. Cut the crap. No matter where I am from, it's enough that I can kill the two of you. Qin Fun's attack missed, so he pierced through the air once again. The Dragon Quake Spear let out a dragon roar. As the spear trembled, thousands of spear lights shot out. The spear's shadows were as dense as rain, and the aura was like that of a ferocious beast. In an instant, the entire wall collapsed. Qin Fun didn't expect that he would have to fight so soon after coming to the South Flat Continent. Moreover, his opponent wasn't weak either. After the wall collapsed, the situation inside was clear. The courtyard was huge and had over 100 rooms. The style of the houses was similar to ancient Chinese architecture. Many people heard the commotion and ran out of their houses. When they saw that there was a commotion outside, they immediately gathered at the city gates. Chapter 1841. In the blink of an eye, more than 30 people had gathered outside, but this number was completely out of Qin Fun's expectation. He had used his divine sense to scan the rooms before, and there were at least hundreds of cultivators in those rooms. Qin Fun once again suspected that not all the cultivators in these rooms were Wang Jun and Wang Xiu's subordinates. As for who the rest of them were, Qin Fun couldn't figure it out for a while. Although the enemy's forces had increased by 20 to 30 people, Qin Fun wasn't too worried. He glanced at the crowd and found that the cultivators' realms were not high. There were only 2 early, true spirit realm cultivators, and the rest were mostly in the Buddha light realm. There were even a few half-step Saint King realm cultivators among them. As the saying goes, newborn calves are not afraid of death. The first to rush up was the group of Saint King realm cultivators. They relied on the fact that their boss, Wang Jun, was in the late true spirit realm, and they didn't put Qin Fun in their eyes at all. Even though they knew that they couldn't see through Qin Fun's cultivation, they still launched an imposing attack. More than a dozen black shadows rose into the air at the same time, holding different weapons in their hands. Suddenly, a row of muffled explosions rang out. Before the weapons in their hands could fall, the shadows had already been blown up by the dense silver spear light. Jiuguan Chinese website, the momentum of the spear was still echoing in the sky, and everyone felt the ground shake. The remaining cultivators suddenly stopped and looked at Qin Fun in shock from dozens of meters away. What realm is this guy in? He actually killed 12 Saint King realm cultivators in one move. Looking at his age, it shouldn't be, because his cultivation is high. I feel that the silver spear in his hand is very unusual. No matter what realm this kid is in, he dared to cause trouble here. Today will be the day he dies. The remaining cultivators were basically Buddha Light realm cultivators, and the two true spirit realm experts had disdain in their eyes. Even if Qin Fun killed 12 Saint King realm cultivators in one move, in their eyes, it was nothing. But these people didn't attack again. They were waiting for Boss Wang Jun's orders. When he saw 12 people die tragically under the spear, Wang Jun was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. I don't care which continent you are from, but if I, Wang Jun, don't kill you today, I am not human. Wang Jun's roar shook the heavens like a wild beast that had gone berserk. However, Qin Feng said coldly, "Although I know you're worse than a beast, there's no need for you to swear to prove that you're not human. Are all the cultivators in the South Plateau state like you? If so, I'll have to reconsider if I should continue staying in this place." These people were all cultivators. Usually, if they didn't like each other, they would fight each other directly. They didn't have the habit of bickering. When they heard Qin Fun's words, everyone was stunned. They thought about his words a few times in their minds before they understood. "Ayaya, you ant, watch my sword." Wang Jun came back to his senses and stabbed the air with his sword. It was a gold-grade spirit sword, and it was a flying sword. When the golden sword stabbed out, it turned into a ray of golden light and disappeared into the sky. When it reappeared, it was hovering above Qin Feng's head. Rumble. A loud sound rang out. It turned out that the flying sword had missed its mark and exploded into the ground, creating a fissure. However, Wang Jun didn't care. With a wave of his hand, another 2 pink flying swords shot out. The sound of wind breaking rang out as the 2 flying swords attacked from the left and right. Qin Feng easily dodged the flying swords, but Wang Jun's move wasn't over yet. With another wave of his hand, another 3 pink flying swords rose into the sky. At this moment, there were already 6 flying swords attacking at the same time. The sound of wind breaking rang out in the sky. The golden and pink rays intertwined, forming a dense sword net. The crowd revealed smiles, excitement, and amazement. Boss is using his ultimate move, the 9 Heaven Sword Art. The last time I saw such a stunning sword skill was half a year ago. Boss was only in the middle stage of the True Spirit Realm, but he killed a late-stage True Spirit Realm expert. Now, he's using this ultimate move against a cultivator from the Light of Buddha. That kid should be hiding his strength. He's most likely in the True Spirit Realm. However, no matter how powerful he is, he can't defeat Boss's 9 Heaven Sword Art. Actually, Boss doesn't even need to make a move. I can kill that bastard by myself. Just as everyone was discussing, Wang Jun took out his last 3 flying swords. At this moment, there were 9 flying swords flying in the sky. The only golden flying sword was leading the way, while the other 8 pink flying swords seemed to have their own intelligence and followed the golden flying sword. The 9 flying swords were like 9 rays of light, slicing through half the sky. The air was filled with sharp sounds, and just the concentrated sword cries were enough to send chills down one's spine. As the 9 flying swords chased after him, there was a golden ray that flickered. Qin Feng stepped on the golden sword and dodged it. Although he hadn't been injured yet, the flying sword were getting faster and faster, and he was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. When he saw the 9 flying swords attacking, Qin Feng couldn't help but remember that he had met such an opponent in the northern sand continent. However, that opponent's cultivation wasn't high, and he could only control 6 flying swords at once. He wasn't as powerful as Wang Jun Puqi. A crisp sound rang out. Qin Feng slightly furrowed his brows and subconsciously looked at his right arm. There was a cut on his arm. After the first cut appeared, the sound of his skin being cut came one after another. There were even a few times when the flying swords almost cut him in half. The battle had just begun, but Qin Feng was already at a disadvantage. Wang Jun just stood there and casually controlled the 9 flying swords, making it so that Qin Feng didn't even have a chance to fight back. The smiles on the surrounding people's faces became even wider. This brat is too trash. He dares to cause trouble here with just this kind of strength. He's simply tired of living. Strange, this kind of ant can be killed by anyone. Why would the boss personally come out? I think I heard Big Brother Wang Xiu's call for help, so the boss came out. Of course, these people knew Wang Xiu's cultivation. He had stepped into the true spirit realm, so the brat in front of them shouldn't be Wang Xiu's match. They didn't know why Wang Xiu would ask the boss to come out. When the discussion fell into Wang Xiu's ears, his face turned red with anger. However, he was too embarrassed to stand out and scold everyone. After all, this kind of thing was too shameful, but seeing Qin Feng being beaten all over the place, Wang Xiu immediately vented his anger. An ant like you doesn't need senior brother to make a move. Let me kill you. Seeing that Qin Feng's body was riddled with scars, Wang Xiu let out an angry roar and flew towards the sky. He was quite cunning, only acting when Wang Jun was about to kill Qin Feng. In this way, he could redeem himself from the humiliation of being chased by Qin Feng. Seeing his junior brother fly into the battlefield, Wang Jun temporarily stopped his flying swords to prevent the sword chi from injuring Wang Xiu. He also realized that Qin Feng was heavily injured, and with his junior brother's true spirit realm cultivation, killing this kind of strong crossbow was not a problem at all. Only their thoughts were wrong from the beginning. Although Qin Feng was covered in wounds, they were only superficial wounds. The aura in his body was very fierce, and he wasn't affected at all. "Ha! Stinky brat, who told you to be arrogant with father? I'll tear you into 10,000 pieces." In just a few breaths of time, Wang Xiu had already arrived in front of Qin Feng. His expression was fierce, and his eyes were filled with a cold smile. The blade in his hand was about to fall, but for some reason, the arm that was raising the blade suddenly stopped in the air, and the blade didn't fall. "I already said that you can't kill me, but I can instantly kill you." Qin Feng's voice echoed in Wang Xiu's mind. The latter's eyes were filled with shock, and his mouth slightly opened as if he wanted to say something, but he found that he couldn't control his body, and his throat couldn't make any sound. A wave of pain spread through his body, and he saw his body slowly split apart before finally exploding in the sky like fireworks. Hong long long. The explosion was too sudden, and it didn't stop. When they saw Wang Xiu explode, their jaws and eyeballs fell to the ground. Other than Wang Jun, everyone else's cultivation was too low. They couldn't even see how Qin Feng had attacked, but in the end, a true Spirit Realm 2 expert had been killed. The atmosphere suddenly froze, and those mocking Qin Feng suddenly stopped. Only now did the crowd realize how strong Qin Feng was. No wonder Wang Xiu had escaped back, and even needed boss Wang Jun to personally make a move. He had even used his 9 Heaven Sword Art as a trump card. After killing Wang Xiu with one slash, Qin Feng's heart was filled with joy. He found that on the way to the South Plain State, his cultivation had increased again. The South Plain State's spiritual chi was very dense, so fighting was much easier than in the Northern Sand State. In this group of people, other than boss Wang Jun, Wang Xiu had the highest status in cultivation. Now that their second brother had been killed, everyone felt a trace of nervousness in their hearts. "You bastard, you dared to kill my junior brother. Father will use my flying sword to cut you into pieces and feed you to the dogs." After a short moment of shock, Wang Jun came back to his senses. As he roared like a wild beast, the sword hums in the air once again sounded out. The 9 flying swords no longer attacked in the same direction, but instead spread out in all directions. The chaotic attacks caused Qin Feng to once again fall into a predicament, and he couldn't escape for a while. In terms of sword skills, Qin Feng had quite a few. The shadowless sword that he had secretly learned from Broken Hung Mountain, the Thousand Silk Slash from Equal Heaven Sect, the Waning Moon sword technique that he had learned from Limitless. These sword skills were all very powerful, but unfortunately, he didn't even have the chance to use them. Qin Feng realized that Wang Jun's 9 Heaven sword art was also very powerful. It was a high-grade sword skill, and he was thinking of secretly learning it. This way, he would be able to obtain Hedonist points from the system. He was in a hurry to earn Hedonist points so that he could quickly become a rank 9 Hedonist mortal. Fortunately, Wang Jun didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. Otherwise, he would have been angered to death by Qin Feng's thoughts. To him, Qin Feng was already in a perilous situation, and this guy still had the mind to secretly learn his 9 Heaven sword art. When the thought of secretly learning arose, Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to find a way to break through. He immediately used the heart chant of creation, and the images of swords that filled the sky flashed through his mind like a movie. A new understanding was born, and these seemingly random sword lights began to form a pattern. Qin Feng realized that he was rapidly understanding the mysteries of the 9 Heaven sword art, and he was shocked by his speed of understanding. Chapter 1842. Brat, now you know how powerful I am. I advise you to surrender. Kneel on the ground where my junior brother died and kowtow. I will leave your corpse intact. Wang Jun did not know that Qin Feng was secretly learning his 9 Heaven sword art and still put on an arrogant attitude. Qin Feng laughed in his heart and shouted at him. With just this little ability, you have the nerve to call yourself powerful. After such a long time, you still haven't killed me. This kind of sword skill is really laughable. Look how Grandpa killed people just now, one sword to kill one. Qin Feng was purposely provoking Wang Jun so that he would use more of the 9th Heaven sword technique. Actually, Qin Feng realized something. He had secretly learned Hunyuan Sect's Hunyuan 7 Blades, Broken Hung Mountain's Shadowless Sword, Equal Heaven Sect's Thousand Silk Slash, Endless Mo's Waning Moon sword technique. But when he secretly learned these martial skills, his opponent only used a portion of the moves. But Qin Feng could rely on the powerful Heart Sutra of the Good Fortune chapter to perfect these martial skills on his own. Now that he had obtained the Creation chapter, his ability to comprehend and perfect became even stronger. You reckless ant, since you were so eager to die, I will fulfill your wish. His words successfully angered Wang Jun. He waved his hands, and the 9 flying swords in the sky seemed to have a life of their own. They overlapped and attacked Qin Feng. There were no marks in the sky, but the flying swords had already flown past. To be more precise, the sky was filled with sword marks, but these sword marks were left behind from before. The 9 flying swords were now extremely fast, leaving no marks where they flew. When they reached a new space, the air that they had flown through before was filled with sword chi that tore through the air. What a powerful sword skill! It is similar to the Waning Moon sword technique. Qin Feng sighed. His understanding of a 9th Heaven sword technique was becoming more and more thorough. However, in order to learn this sword skill, he also paid the price in blood. Under the pursuit of the 9 flying swords, he was cut into a bloody person. His body was not only covered with skin wounds. Not long ago, 2 flying swords hit his abdomen and back. Although he used his chi to protect his body in time, his body was still seriously injured. Let's see if he can still be arrogant. Everyone, let's get revenge for Wang Xiao. Feeling Qin Feng's chi getting weaker and weaker, Wang Jun shouted. His subordinates had been waiting for this moment. Suddenly, more than 20 black shadows rushed into the sky and surrounded Qin Feng with fierce attacks. There were 2 true spirit realm cultivators in this group of people, and the rest were in the Buddha light realm. Furthermore, there was Wang Jun, who was in the late true spirit realm, standing on the ground. For a moment, Qin Feng felt a strong, murderous intent. He felt that if he didn't retaliate, he would really die here. Buzz! A strange energy fluctuation suddenly appeared in the air. In Qin Feng's hand was a cool, long black saber. The model of this imprisonment was a treasured saber of the Destruction Dark Equipment. Qin Feng had won it from Su Qi, the genius disciple of the Seven Stars Monastery, when he participated in the genius meeting held by the Benji Market. When the shackles fell, a black saber chi appeared in the void. The saber chi immediately spread in all directions. With Qin Feng as the center, it quickly formed a black hole-like halo. The air froze, and time seemed to stop at this moment. The more than 20 cultivators who were flying in the air suddenly froze in the sky, maintaining their attacking posture and fierce expressions on their faces. The 9 flying swords revealed their original forms and surrounded Qin Feng. The sharp sword light also stopped in the void. Within a radius of 500 meters, there was no sound. All life disappeared, and only Qin Feng's chi spread in the air. This was Qin Feng's second time using the shackles, but he was still shocked by the power of this superb true weapon. When he regained his senses, he immediately slashed horizontally with his saber. A black light flashed, and the air seemed to be cut in half. The more than 20 cultivators who were frozen in the void were also cut in half at the waist. Buzz! In just a short dozen seconds, there was another wave of energy fluctuation, and the sound of an explosion resounded in the sky. The attacks of the dozen cultivators fell, and everything returned to normal. How could this be? To Wang Jun, he couldn't remember what had just happened. It was as if those dozen seconds were as long as a dozen centuries. However, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. The remains of his subordinates were scattered around him, and blood flowed like a river. The scene was extremely bloody and terrifying. Rumble. However, he didn't have time to think about what had just happened. Several waist-thick lightning bolts struck down from the sky. The moment he saw these lightning bolts, Wang Jun felt an unprecedented fear and the aura of death. As a late-stage, true spirit realm cultivator, he wasn't an inexperienced person. He had seen the thunder tribulation caused by the void god realm cultivator breaking through, and it was probably nothing compared to the lightning bolts falling on his head. Nothing is impossible. I've said it before. You can't kill me, but I can kill you. Qin Feng's loud voice came from the thunder. Wang Jun wanted to refute, but he didn't even have the chance to make a sound. In an instant, he was blown to pieces in the sea of lightning. The moment he was hit by the lightning bolts, his eyes were filled with fear. He was sure that the power of these lightning bolts was comparable to the thunder tribulation when a void god realm cultivator broke through. However, this kind of attack came from a Buddha light realm cultivator. He didn't know how the other party did it. Before dying, Wang Jun didn't understand many things. However, he didn't need to think about it, because death meant that everything would disappear. When Qin Feng stepped into the South Flat Continent, he killed many Buddha Light Realm cultivators and 4 true Spirit Realm experts. This battle gave him confidence. Even if he came here, he wouldn't end up in a situation where he was at the mercy of others. Wang Jun is dead? Everyone come out quickly. Wang Jun and Wang Xiao are dead. Not long after the battle ended, more than 100 people ran out of the houses. These people were mostly at the Buddha Light Realm, but there were a few Sage King and Immortal Qi Realm cultivators. Qin Feng jumped into the crowd, scaring everyone into retreating immediately. They sized him up with vigilance. Suddenly, a figure rushed out from the crowd and shouted in surprise, "Sect Leader Qin, is it really you?" Because of this cultivator's action, everyone was stunned and didn't dare to move. Qin Feng looked at that cultivator for a while and felt that he looked familiar. However, he couldn't remember who he was. "You are?" Qin Feng asked. "Sect Leader Qin. I am Sky Cloud Sword's disciple He Chao. Do you still remember me?" When Sky Cloud Sword's name was announced, the rest of the people were at a loss. Obviously, they had never heard of this sect. However, Qin Feng was stunned. After searching through his memory, he remembered the middle-aged man in front of him. This person was actually from the Divine Land and Sky Cloud Sword was also a big sect in the Divine Land. You came here too? Qin Feng's words had a hidden meaning that only He Chao could understand. Chapter 1843. Sect Leader Qin, we can talk about my matter later. These brothers are all cultivators from the other 3 continents. More than half of them are from the northern Sand Continent. After everyone arrived here, they were placed under house arrest by Wang Jun and the rest. They forced everyone to help them collect spirit stones and do some manual labor. He Chao said, "Then why didn't you run away?" Qin Feng asked. "It's not that I haven't thought about it. However, it is very difficult to escape. Just over a month ago, 3 Buddha light stage cultivators from the northern Sand region wanted to escape. In the end, they were captured by Wang Jun. He killed them on the spot and brought their corpses back to hang them on the flagpole to display his might." Qin Feng glanced at the crowd. Among them, the person with the highest realm was a late-stage Buddha light stage cultivator. That cultivator's clothes were tattered and his face was covered with whip marks. It seemed that he had been beaten a lot. With the cultivation of these people, it was indeed impossible for them to fight against Wang Jun and the others. There was no need for Wang Jun to make a move. Just Wang Xiao and the other 2 true spirit realm cultivators were enough. Qin Feng was speechless as to why Wang Jun and the others put everyone under house arrest. Unexpectedly, they wanted these cultivators to help them find spirit stones. However, when He Chao brought Qin Feng to the room where the spirit stones were stored, he was immediately shocked by the scene in front of him. The entire room was more than 1,000 square meters, and it was actually filled with spirit stones. "Sect Leader Qin, we've worked day and night to find these spirit stones. Wang Jun and the others are very strict with us. Every day, everyone has a task to collect spirit stones. If we don't reach the required number of spirit stones, we'll be beaten and scolded. If it's serious, we'll be killed." Every time He Chao mentioned Wang Jun's name, his eyes were filled with fear and anger. He hesitated a few times before finally asking, "All right, Sect Leader Qin, did you kill Wang Jun and the others?" Everyone in front heard the fierce fighting outside and thought that Wang Jun and his men were catching the people who escaped, but when everyone came out, they found that Wang Jun and his men were gone. Qin Feng was surprised by the number of spirit stones in the room, but after understanding the situation, he felt that it was normal. There were at least 100 people here, and every one of them was using their lives to collect spirit stones. Naturally, the results were shocking. "Everyone, don't worry. Wang Jun and the others have been killed by me. Now you are free." When Qin Feng said this, the crowd was stunned. Soon, some people came to their senses, and their empty eyes regained their luster. "Sect Leader Qin, are you joking? Did you kill Wang Jun and those bastards?" Aside from He Chao, no one else recognized Qin Feng. When they heard He Chao call him Sect Leader Qin, they followed suit. Everyone's eyes were filled with doubt. Some cultivators couldn't see through Qin Feng's realm, but there were a few late-stage Buddha Light realm cultivators who could see that Qin Feng was at the Buddha Light 7 transformations realm. How could this kind of cultivation kill Wang Jun and his group? Qin Feng naturally knew what everyone was thinking, but he didn't explain much. He looked at the room full of spirit stones and said, "These spirit stones were collected by you. Divide them among yourselves and leave this place. Go back to where you came from." The crowd was stunned once again. Who would have thought that Qin Feng would be so easy to talk to? This was the Divine Supreme Continent, a place where only the strong were respected. Which expert would give cultivation resources to the weak when they saw them? However, only He Chao understood Qin Feng. Back in the Divine Land, Qin Feng eventually dominated the entire Divine Land. However, he did not destroy the sects that had offended him in a fit of rage. Instead, he accepted all the sects with the magnanimous attitude of an expert. "Fellow Taoists, Sect Leader Qin doesn't lie. Let's share the spirit stones and leave." He Chao shouted. His words were better than Qin Feng's. He had been with them for more than a year, and they were friends. A few cultivators carefully went into the spirit stone room and put the spirit stones into their storage rings. Some ran away. They didn't even dare to take a spirit stone. It did not take long before half of the spirit stones in the room were taken away. Then, the cultivators stopped. One of them looked at Qin Fun and said, "Sect leader Qin, thank you for saving our lives. Please take the remaining spirit stones. Consider it our thanks to you." Actually, even if these people didn't leave him any spirit stones, Qin Fun wouldn't have said anything. However, with everyone's actions, he felt a sense of warmth in his heart. This was the first time he felt a sense of closeness since coming to the South Flat Continent. Qin Feng didn't stand on ceremony. He took more than 10 million spirit stones. He left half of it for He Chao, which was also 10 million spirit stones. After the cultivators got the spirit stones, they bid farewell to Qin Feng and left. They came from different continents. They came to the South Pingzhou to look for treasures or people, but they were put under house arrest. Many of them had been under house arrest for more than a year. Only Qin Feng and He Chao were left in the room. He Chao didn't have any misgivings. He returned to the original topic. "Sect leader Qin, you were also transported to the South Pingzhou. I didn't expect you to still be alive." Qin Feng felt that He Chao's words were strange, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. "I was transported to the Divine Continent 2 years ago. I stayed in the North Sand Continent. I just arrived at the South Pingzhou a few days ago. I didn't expect to meet you here." Qin Feng briefly explained his situation. At the same time, he was puzzled. He Chao was a disciple of the Divine Continent's Heavenly Sword sect. His cultivation talent was not bad. He should have reached the late-stage Immortal Qi realm after 2 years in the South Pingzhou. Why hadn't he broken through to the mid-stage? Before Qin Feng could figure it out, He Chao suddenly exclaimed, "Huh? Sect leader Qin was in the North Sand Continent? Then how did you come to the South Pingzhou Continent? By the way, Sect leader Qin, are there any of the cultivators who were transported here with you alive?" The more Qin Feng listened, the more confused he became. What did He Chao mean by the cultivators who were transported here with him? Could it be that He Chao wasn't in the same batch as him? When were you transported here? Qin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He had a terrifying guess. "Sect leader Qin, I was in the second batch. I arrived at the South Pingzhou continent a year ago." Rumble. Qin Feng felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He Chao had confirmed his speculation. Following this pattern, could it be that the formation leading to the Divine Continent had been loosening every year since the realms merged 2 years ago? Did anyone get transported here this year? How many people did you teleport from that batch? Qin Feng realized the seriousness of the problem. If the array leading to the Divine Continent opened every year, then his family and friends in China would definitely come to the Divine Continent to look for him. I don't know if anyone was teleported over this year. As for the last time we teleported over, not many people came. Because sect leader Qin was the first to do so, many people didn't dare to enter the teleportation array. Now, there are rumors that sect leader Qin is dead. The first batch of people who teleported over also died. Chapter 1844. As he spoke, He Chao's expression became dejected. As for our group of cultivators, more than half of them should have died. At least 4 of my fellow disciples were killed. I'm the only one left alive. That's right, sect leader Qin, there seems to be a relative of yours among our group. Qin Feng's expression changed drastically. He was afraid that his relatives and friends would find their way to the Divine Supreme Continent. He could barely protect himself now, let alone others. Who are my relatives? Qin Feng asked immediately. I know your father, Emperor Qin, and your grandfather, Qin Shitian. There's also a little girl called Qin Duo Air, but I'm not sure if there are others. Qin Feng clenched his fists so hard that his nails dug into his flesh. He did not know that the 3 people He Chao mentioned were his real relatives. Even though they were not related by blood, they had raised him since he was young. Have you heard any news about them recently? Ever since I was placed under house arrest by Wang Jun and the others, I haven't received any news from anyone else. As for the matter regarding Emperor Qin and the other 2, I only heard it by accident before I was placed under house arrest. I don't know those 3 people, but I heard that they were looking for sect leader Qin. That was how I found out about their relationship with sect leader Qin. Qin Feng was startled. He Chao was a cultivator of the Divine Great Land. so of course he didn't know Emperor Qin and the others. However, another question arose in his mind. Wasn't the divine Great Land merged with the divine continent 2 years ago when the planes merged? If He Chao was in the divine Great Land, why did he only teleport here a year ago? Qin Fan shared his doubts with He Chao. The latter had a complicated expression on his face. Then, realization dawned on him. So that's how it is. No wonder so many lands in the divine Great Land suddenly disappeared, and some sects and forces seem to have vanished in a thin air. It's because of the merging of the planes. So, what happened 2 years ago wasn't a teleportation formation, but a direct merging of the planes. Qin Fan knew that the divine Great Land had indeed merged with the divine Supreme Continent, but it was a teleportation formation that appeared in China's inner hidden sects. Qin Fan could not figure out why this was different. However, he realized another important thing. He thought that the divine Great Land had merged with the divine Supreme Continent, but it was not what he had imagined. Qin Fan thought of the Violet Afterglow Valley mystic realm that he had explored before. There was a part of the combined divine land there, but it was not the complete Poison Sun City. At that time, Qin Fan was a little puzzled, but now he understood. He even had a bold conjecture. In fact, the divine Great Land was a part of the divine mainland a long time ago. Not only the divine Great Land, but there were also many planes that suddenly merged 2 years ago that were all part of the divine mainland. Due to some unknown reasons, the divine mainland had split up a long time ago, and some of the planes were scattered to different regions. Now, for some unknown reason, these scattered planes had returned. These questions were too profound, and with Qin Fan's current knowledge, he couldn't understand them at all. He tossed aside the messy thoughts in his head and continued to ask He Chao, "When and where did you hear about my father and the others?" He Chao didn't pay much attention to Qin Huang and the other two at first, but now that Qin Fan asked him about it, he immediately tried his best to remember. It should be 1 month after I was teleported here. On that day, I met a cultivator from the Divine Land near the Sand City. We chatted, and I learned about Qin Huang and the other two from that cultivator. If I remember correctly, that cultivator said that he came from Pansha Market. Because Pansha Market is too big and there are too many powerful cultivators, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to survive. So he came to a small town like Sand City. He met someone from China in Panshan Market, and because he knew that sect leader Qin came from China, he specifically asked about Emperor Qin and the others. Qin Fan wanted to rush to Panshan Market to find his father and the others immediately, but he quickly calmed down, putting aside the question of whether he could survive in Panshan Market with his strength. Even if he went there now, he didn't know if his father and the others were still there. What's that cultivator's name? Where is he now? Qin Fan wanted to find that person and ask about it in detail. He Chao shook his head and sighed. He was a disciple of the divine Great Land's mysterious ice sect. Later on, he was imprisoned by Wang Jun and the others, just like me. That cultivator was unwilling to become someone else's puppet, so he was killed when he tried to escape. Qin Fan sighed, feeling pity for that cultivator. That cultivator helped him bring news about Emperor Qin and the others, but he didn't even get to see them. However, when he thought about how he killed Wang Jun and the others, it could be said that he had avenged that cultivator. Qin Fan carefully calculated the time. The news about his father and the others came out a year ago, and the divine continent was extremely dangerous. Moreover, this was the South Pingzhou continent. Without strength, one would be reduced to the lowest level of cannon fodder. A year had passed, and he was very worried about his father and the other's safety. Are you familiar with the South Pingzhou continent? Qin Fan collected his thoughts. He knew that it was meaningless to worry, and the most important thing was to act as soon as possible. This junior has only been in the South Pingzhou continent for a month, and I was captured by Wang Jun and the others. Since then, I've been active in the Sand City area, so I'm not familiar with other places, He Chao said honestly. Qin Fan had been worried about his father and the others, so he ignored the fact that He Chao kept talking about the Sand City. Qin Fan's expression suddenly lit up, and he quickly asked, "You're saying that this area belongs to the Sand City?" "That's right, sect leader Qin. This is the Sand City. Have you heard of the Immortal Moon restaurant in the Sand City? I know, because the items sold in that Immortal Moon restaurant are very unique. I especially went there once and found out that they were actually selling Chinese products. It's just that when I went there, someone happened to be looking for trouble with the lady boss, so I didn't ask where she came from. Qin Fen raised his brows. You said that someone was looking for trouble with Hua Xianyu? When did this happen? No matter how stupid He Chao was, he realized that the lady boss of the Immortal Moon restaurant had a close relationship with Qin Fen. Sect Leader Qin, I went there 3 months ago to look for spirit stones. I happened to pass by the Immortal Moon restaurant, so I went to have a look. It seems that a disciple from a sect took a fancy to the lady boss's beauty, but she rejected him. That cultivator was so angry that he caused trouble in the Immortal Moon restaurant. As for what happened after that, I don't know. Qin Fen's body emitted waves of cold air, and He Chao felt like he had fallen into an ice cellar. He regretted not helping Hua Xianyu at that time, but it would have been useless even if he had helped. The cultivators in the Divine Continent were all abnormal, and ever since He Chao was teleported here, he had been at the bottom of the hierarchy. Knowing that Hua Xianyu was in trouble, Qin Feng's heart burned with anxiety. He was angry at Al Shun of the Thousand Swords sect. Even though he knew that there was an 80% chance that Al Shun wouldn't keep his promise, when it really happened, his anger burned at Al Shun. He even swore in his heart that if anything happened to Hua Xianyu, he would definitely cut off Al Shun's dog head. He Chao had been to the main district of the Sand City, and he was familiar with the area. The two of them immediately rushed to the center of the city. Qin Fen planned to find Hua Xianyu first. The Sand City was only a 3-star market in the South Flat Continent, and it was the lowest among the 3-star markets. It was like a third-tier city in China. The flow of people and the environment were similar to Luo City, where Qin Fen had first arrived in the North Sand Continent. However, the spiritual energy density here was more than 10 times higher than Luo City. Stop, you two. If you want to enter the Sand City, hand over your storage rings first. As soon as the two of them arrived at the gate of the Sand City, they were stopped by a group of 5 cultivators. These 5 people had been waiting outside the city. There were many cultivators coming and going, but they did not stop them one by one. Instead, they targeted cultivators who walked alone or had low cultivation bases. Qin Fen and He Chao were used to this kind of thing. This was the specialty of the Divine Supreme Continent. It was a place where only the strong were respected, and there were no laws to speak of. He Chao did not care too much about handing over his storage rings. He was a low-level cultivator, and he had been exploited by Wang Jun and the others. It could be said that he had no treasures on him. However, when he thought of the more than 10 million high-grade spirit stones that were stored in his storage ring not long ago, he could not help but feel a little heartache. Sect Leader Qin, this place is not like the Divine Supreme Continent. We should hand over our storage rings. It's more important to save our lives. He Chao still did not know Qin Fen's strength. Although he knew that Qin Fen had killed Wang Jun and the others, he did not see it with his own eyes. Therefore, he always felt that he and Qin Fen were outsiders and could not fight against the local cultivators. However, while he was speaking, Qin Fen had already sized up the 5 people in front of him. Among them, there were 2 early-stage true spirit realm cultivators and 3 late-stage Buddha light realm cultivators. In Qin Fen's eyes, this kind of cultivation was trash that could be killed with a single slash. However, Qin Fen was surprised. These are just a few cultivators that he had casually met, but they were already at such a high realm. It could be seen that the overall standard of the South Flat Continent's cultivators was far higher than that of the North Sand Continent's cultivators. Keep the storage rings. He Chao was about to hand over the storage rings when Qin Fen's indifferent voice sounded in his ears. His body froze, and he still maintained the action of handing over the storage rings. He did not know what to do for a moment. Stinking brat, I think you are tired of living. Seeing that the storage rings were about to be in their hands. But Qin Fen had ruined their plans. The 5 cultivators' expressions turned cold. Among them, 3 late-stage Buddha light realm cultivators even started cursing. Oomph. A mere 7 changes Buddha light realm and dares to behave atrociously here. Why are you wasting your breath on him? I'll count to 3. If he doesn't hand over the storage rings by then, we'll just kill him. He Chao was only at stage 3 Immortal Qi realm now, and he could not see through Qin Fun's cultivation. When he heard that Qin Fun had already stepped into the 7 Changes Buddha light realm, he was shocked. He knew that Qin Fun had only been in the South Flat Continent for 2 years, but he had actually cultivated from the Immortal Qi realm to the late-stage Buddha light realm. Even the genius disciples of the 6-star sects in the South Flat Continent could not achieve such a terrifying cultivation speed, right? Chapter 1845. Noisy. Qin Fan spat out lightly. Then, a golden light flashed. The speed of the sword light was so fast that the 3 Buddha's light cultivators couldn't react. They suddenly felt as if something was stuck in their throats, and they couldn't say anything else. He Chao was scared to death by Qin Fan's actions. He wanted to stop him, but he suddenly heard the sound of skin tearing. The sound was originally very soft, but gradually became louder until it became the sound of blood spurting. Then, there were 3 muffled sounds. The 3 Buddha's light, late-stage cultivators had exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. The commotion here attracted the attention of many cultivators. Some of the lower cultivators immediately ran away, afraid of being affected. However, there were many true spirit realm cultivators standing at the side with the attitude of watching a show. That kid is only at the Buddha's light 7 transformation realm, but he actually killed 3 cultivators of the same realm in one move. This kind of thing is rare. What's so special about it? Those 3 Buddha's light, late-stage cultivators are just rogue cultivators. Their cultivation techniques and martial skills are the worst. Back when I was still at the Buddha's light late stage, I could also instantly kill rogue cultivators at the Buddha's light late stage. He stepped into the Buddha's light late stage at such a young age. That youth might have eaten some kind of beautifying pill. Many people were discussing, but Qin Fan didn't seem to hear it. He was actually a very low-key person, but he knew that he had to be a bit strong at times. Otherwise, there would always be people who wanted to bully him. The 2 true spirit realm cultivators suddenly woke up. They looked at the 3 pools of blood under their feet and felt like they were dreaming. Brat, you dare to kill people in front of me. I will tear you into pieces. One of the true spirit realm 2 cultivators slashed with his saber. That golden saber shined brightly under the sunlight. When the saber slashed down, it instantly formed hundreds of golden saber lights. The dazzling light made He Chao unable to open his eyes. Sect Master Qin, be careful. Rumble. He Chao used his hand to cover his eyes and let out a scream. He immediately heard a deafening explosion and a wave of despair rose in his heart. He thought that Qin Fan had already died to the other party's saber. Originally, He Chao was pleasantly surprised to meet Sect Master Qin in the South Pingzhou state. But who would have thought that in less than half a day, they would be separated by life and death? You hid your strength? What's your cultivation? However, he heard an unfamiliar voice with a terrified tone. He Chao opened his eyes abruptly and was stunned by the scene in front of him. The true spirit stage expert who attacked Qin Feng had long since disappeared, but there was a pool of blood on the ground where he was standing before. A golden flying sword floated above Qin Feng's head, and the flying sword suddenly shot out, drawing a golden light in the air. The cultivator who was asking the question suddenly froze, and a second later, a mist of blood exploded from his body. Rumble. The sound of the explosion had yet to completely subside, but the 5 cultivators had already lost their lives to the flying swords. The onlookers found it hard to come back to their senses. They looked at Qin Feng again with fear in their eyes. This young hero has definitely stepped into the true spirit realm. He looks to be in his 30s, but he is already a true spirit realm expert. He must be a disciple of a 5-star sect. He might have eaten a beauty elixir to maintain his youthful appearance. But no matter what, we are definitely not his match. We should leave this place as soon as possible. As the crowd gradually woke up, the area outside the Sand City suddenly became quiet. After witnessing Qin Feng's power, not many people dared to challenge his dignity. There were also some forces that had been guarding the entrance of the Sand City and robbing outsiders. At this moment, they felt a lingering fear and relief. They were afraid of Qin Feng's power, and they were relieved that Li Bo and the others had stopped Qin Feng first. Otherwise, they might have been the ones to die. Sect Master Qin, what realm are you at now? He Chao only woke up after following Qin Feng into the Sand City. However, the shock in his eyes did not disappear. He was truly shocked by Qin Feng's power. Just as those people said, I am at the Seven Changes Buddha Aura realm. He Chao opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but Qin Feng continued, but I can instantly kill early-stage, true spirit realm cultivators. Even if I encounter early-stage, void, God realm experts, I can still escape and even kill them. He Chao's words did not leave his mouth in the end. He was speechless and did not know what to say. After entering the Sand City, there were more and more cultivators. The streets were crowded, and it was a lively scene. However, although there were many people in the city, there were few robberies like at the city gate. Qin Feng guessed that the Sand City was also guarded by a city lord. Ordinary people did not dare to easily cause trouble in the city. Under He Chao's lead, the two quickly found the Immortal Moon Shop. However, the Immortal Moon Shop had changed its owner and its signboard was changed. It was called Danxiang Workshop, and it was a place that specialized in selling elixirs. Qin Feng asked the shopkeeper about Hua Xianyue, and the information he received made him feel relieved. Just as He Chao said, 3 months ago, a genius disciple from the 4-star sect, Beijing, came to the Immortal Moon Shop. After taking a fancy to Hua Xianyue's beauty, he wanted to recruit her, but was rejected by Hua Xianyue. In a fit of anger, the disciple called by Ming wreaked havoc in the Immortal Moon Shop. Fortunately, Hua Xianyue escaped in time, and in the Sand City, the disciple did not dare to act recklessly. After that, Hua Xianyue returned to the Immortal Moon Shop once and transferred the shop to the current owner of the Danxiang Workshop. She also told the owner that she had joined the Mu Shanzi sect and that she planned to cultivate in seclusion there. Qin Feng followed He Chao to Mu Shanzi. Fortunately, Mu Shanzi was a sect in the North Sand City, and He Chao knew its address. On the way, He Chao gave Qin Feng a brief introduction about Mu Shanzi. It was a small 3-star sect in the Sand City, and it was a female sect. It was rumored that the sect leader, Mu Shanmo, had just stepped into the true spirit realm. In a place like the South Flat Continent, true spirit realm cultivators were not worth mentioning. However, Qin Feng was still a little surprised. This was because he had come from a North Sand region and was very clear about the power of the 3-star sects in the North Sand region. When he had just arrived in the North Sand region, Lin Bei and the others had caught the eye of the Hunyuan sect. The Hunyuan sect was a 3-star sect in the North Sand region, but the sect leader, Hunyuan Qingtian, was only a Saint King realm cultivator. Moreover, in the North Sand region, the sect leader of a new 5-star sect was only at the true spirit realm. Looking at the South Flat Continent, the sect leader of a mere 3-star sect, Mu Shanzi, had actually stepped into the true spirit realm. Up ahead is the sacred land of the Mu Shanzi sect. Fellow Taoists, please wait. The two of them had already landed at the foot of a huge purple mountain. There were a few delicate and pretty women guarding the entrance. They were dressed in purple robes and carried thin swords on their backs. He Chao immediately cupped his hands and said, "Senior sisters, sect leader Qin and I are here to look for someone." A slightly older woman walked out from the crowd and politely replied, "May I know who the two of you are looking for?" Hua Xianyue, Qin Feng said before He Chao could speak. "You are looking for junior sister Hua Xianyue? She was just sent to the Beijing sect this morning," the woman said. Qin Feng immediately raised his brows. He had heard the shopkeeper mention the Beijing sect when he was at the Danxiang Workshop. It was the genius disciple of the Beijing sect, Bai Ming, who had taken a fancy to Hua Xianyue's beauty. After failing, he had wreaked havoc in the Immortal Moon House. Now that Hua Xianyue had actually been sent to the Beijing sect, a ferocious aura immediately swept up from Qin Feng's body. "Fellow Taoist, what do you mean by this? How could the 7 or 8 female disciples guarding the door withstand Qin Feng's anger? They felt a wave of oppression. There were even a few female cultivators with lower realms who sat on the ground and vomited. Why did you send Hua Xianyue to the Beijing sect? Don't you know that the Beijing sect by Ming has ulterior motives for her? Qin Feng was very angry. With this angry roar, his cultivation of the 7 changes of Buddha aura was fully displayed. Moreover, his aura was far stronger than that of an early-stage, true spirit realm cultivator. Immediately, the disciples guarding the door were forced to retreat hundreds of meters away. No one answered Qin Feng's question because those disciples' realms were too low. At this moment, they felt that their internal injuries were about to be shaken out. They didn't even have the strength to speak. However, a green figure flew to the ground. The moment the person approached Qin Feng, she also felt that powerful aura. It actually made her feel a little uncomfortable. May I know who you are? What conflict do I, Mu Shanzi, have with you? A woman's voice sounded. She looked to be in her 40s or 50s. Qin Feng only needed a glance to know that this person was Mu Shanzi's sect leader. This was because in the entire Mu Shanzi, only her aura was the strongest, but she had only just stepped into the true spirit realm. You're a sect leader, Mu Shanmo? Why did you send Hua Xianyue to the Beijing sect? Qin Feng's eyes were filled with anger. Mu Shanmo was stunned at first. After coming back to his senses, a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. Is this senior a friend of the Immortal Moon Disciple? Quickly go and save the Immortal Moon Disciple. Although she was willing to marry into the Beijing sect, I know that she couldn't bear to see Mu Shanzi destroyed, so she compromised. There was too much information in these words, but Qin Feng roughly understood the situation. It should be that after Hua Xianyue joined Mu Shanzi, the Beijing sect by Ming did not give up and finally found Mu Shanzi to threaten him. The Beijing sect was a 4-star sect. It was difficult for a 3-star sect like Mu Shanzi to deal with. Helpless, Hua Xianyue chose to marry into the Beijing sect to avoid this fierce battle. What a good Northern Peace sect. What a good Bai Ming, you dare to have designs on my friend. Today, I will massacre Beijing. Who will lead the way for me? Qin Feng had been suppressing a bellyful of anger recently. Previously, it was because of the death of Ouyang Jun and the others. Now, with Hua Xianyue being forced to marry, his anger completely erupted. He Chao knew where the Beijing sect was, but he did not directly lead the way. He said with some worry, Sect leader Qin, the Beijing sect is a 4-star sect in Sand City. Rumor has it that the sect leader by Xiaofeng has already stepped into the Void God realm. If we go, we will be sending ourselves to death. However, Mu Shanmo said, Senior, I can take you there. Chapter 1846. There is a sect's base hidden in a spiritual mountain in the Sand City area. There seemed to be a joyous occasion in the sect today. There was a big red double happiness sign pasted on the house. This sect was the Beijing sect. You may leave. Hua Xianyue was soaking in a wooden tub, sprinkled with flower petals. 2 maids stood beside her. One of them said, Miss Xianyue, we were ordered by the sect to help you bathe and change your clothes. Hua Xianyue looked tired, and her voice was emotionless. You may leave. I can dress myself. The 2 maids looked at each other and reluctantly left the inner room. They stood guard at the door of the outer room and did not leave. Splash! Hua Xianyue stood up from the wooden tub. Water droplets slid down her smooth skin. She stretched out her slender legs, crossed the edge of the wooden tub, and walked to the bronze mirror on the side. The bronze mirror reflected Hua Xianyue's perfect naked body. She stared at the mirror in a daze. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. She had such a good body, but no one could enjoy it. She was forced to agree to the marriage. She would not have anything to do with Bai Ming. She planned to end her own life after the wedding ceremony was over. Although she was reluctant, she had no other choice. Many people flashed through Hua Xianyue's mind, including her junior sister, Su Ruoro, Great Elder Qing Bai, Sect Master Qing Chun. The reason she came to the Divine Supreme Continent was to look for her fellow disciples and seniors. She also heard that great elder Qing Ying had also come to the divine supreme continent. Thinking of Qing Ying, Hua Xianyu immediately thought of Qin Feng. She had heard from Qin Feng a long time ago that elder Qing Ying was his mother. When Qin Feng's figure appeared in her mind, it was different from the other figures that flashed through her mind. She couldn't get it out of her mind. Everything about her, and Qin Feng played in her mind like a movie. They first met in Devil Beast Mountain in Acropolis City. They fought together to kill the three-eyed elephant boar. They even fed each other blood essence to survive. Then, Qin Feng went to the Thousand Shadows sect to look for Su Ruoro. Then, they went to the Divine Supreme continent together. The relationship between the two of them was ambiguous. They were like lovers, but it was also like there was a veil between them. Hua Xianyu and Qin Feng didn't try to break through that veil. However, when Hua Xianyu wanted to remove the veil, she realized it was too late. Ever since she came to the Divine Continent, she had been worrying about survival. She had encountered countless dangers and obstacles along the way. She had come to look for Qin Feng and the others, but in the end, she did not even see a single cultivator from Huaxia or the Divine Continent. Being in the South Pingzhou, Hua Xianyu felt extremely helpless. This was a completely different world, and she was 1,000 times more lonely than those Chinese students who went overseas to study. In this most difficult situation, Hua Xianyu really wanted to see Qin Feng and ask him to take her away. However, her rationality told her that this was impossible. She even guessed that Qin Feng, her sect's sisters, and the elders might have all died. Lady Immortal Moon, the auspicious hour has arrived. Just as she was lost in thought, a maid came from outside the door to remind her. Hua Xianyu put on a bright red wedding dress like a puppet and walked out of the room under the guidance of the maid. The sound of gongs and drums could be heard outside the door, and people carried a bridal sedan chair over. It was a very lively scene. At this moment, 3 figures flew over from the distance and landed. Sect leader Qin. This is the Beijing sect. Mushan Mo followed He Chao's way of address, and now called Qin Feng's sect leader Qin. He Chao looked at the magnificent city building in front of him and felt uncertain. Sect leader Qin, are we really going to kill our way in? With just the 3 of us? When they arrived at the entrance of the Beijing sect, Mushan Mo was also a little worried. Sect leader Qin, should I call all the experts from Mushan Z over? Then we can fight it out with the Beijing sect. Actually, I have deep feelings for my disciple, Immortal Moon, and have always rejected this marriage. However, my disciple is too kind. To avoid a war between the 2 sects, she ran to the Beijing sect when we weren't paying attention. Qin Feng had always been a good judge of people. He could tell from Mushan Mo's eyes that what he said was the truth. Moreover, if Mushan Mo didn't care about Hua Xianyu, he wouldn't have brought him to the Beijing sect's base. When he heard that they were going to fight a hard battle, He Chao was so scared that he trembled. It wasn't that he was timid and afraid of death, but his current cultivation was too low. Anyone could jump out and kill him instantly. Sect leader Qin, this junior has a suggestion. Our purpose here is to take Lady Immortal Moon away. There's no need to fight with the Beijing sect. Why don't we think of a secret way to sneak in and take Lady Immortal Moon away without anyone knowing? He Chao's suggestion sounded good, and Mushan Mo also hesitated. Although Mushan Mo wasn't afraid of fighting with the Beijing sect, once they fought, Mushan Z would definitely suffer. If it was really as He Chao said, wouldn't it be better if they could take Immortal Moon's disciple away without losing a single soldier? Just as Mushan Mo wanted to persuade Qin Feng, he saw Qin Feng wave his hand and say firmly, "There's no need to think of any other way. Today, I must massacre Beijing and let them know the consequences of offending my friends." He Chao was helpless, but he didn't dare to persuade Qin Feng anymore. However, a trace of desire arose in his heart. He really wanted to become Qin Feng's friend. Qin Feng was willing to sacrifice himself for his friend and single-handedly killed his way into a 4-star sect in the South Pingzhou continent. This kind of courage was truly admirable. Mushan Mo was infected by Qin Feng's hot-bloodedness and heroism. He pulled out the thin sword on his back and shouted, "All right, sect leader Qin, today I'll fight alongside you." Before she could leap up, the sky had already been cut open. A golden light flashed and disappeared, leaving behind Qin Fun's voice. "You two don't need to help me. Just wait outside." Inside the Beijing sect, gongs and drums shook the heavens, and red petals were scattered all over the ground. 8 disciples were carrying a large sedan chair on the flower petal road. At the end of the flower petal road was Bai Ming, dressed as a bridegroom. "The bride is here. The bride is here. Congratulations, senior brother Bai Ming. This is the 3rd wife you've married. I heard that the woman in the sedan chair is extremely beautiful. She's Mushan Zi's #1 beautiful disciple." Senior brother Bai Ming was able to marry a beautiful and virtuous partner. It's really enviable. Bai Ming was surrounded by Beijing sect disciples, and they were all talking at once. When the words of praise and envy fell into Bai Ming's ears, he was so happy that he almost went to heaven. The 8 people in the sedan chair got closer and closer. They were less than 100 meters away from Bai Ming's wedding party. Everyone was getting more and more excited. However, at this moment, a golden light fell from the sky and instantly exploded on the ground like lightning. Rumble! A loud sound rang out. The flower petal road was split in half from the middle, and a huge pit as thick as a person's waist appeared at the place where it was split. It forcibly blocked the 8 people in the sedan chair and Bai Ming's party on both sides. Chapter 1847. Who are you, brat? How dare you cause trouble in Beijing sect? Today is my wedding day, and I don't want to see blood. Get out of here! Bai Ming shouted angrily, and a turbulent aura shot out of his body, showing his Buddha light advanced stage cultivation. He was just a disciple of a 4-star sect, but he could cultivate to the Buddha light advanced stage. This was enough to show that the South Plateau continent's spiritual energy was rich and suitable for cultivators to cultivate. Qin Feng glanced at him indifferently, and the endless killing intent that surged out of his body almost solidified, making it hard for the people in front of him to breathe. "Sorry, I can't leave yet, because I'm here to kill you." Rumble. His words made the crowd burst into an uproar. Today was Beijing sect's genius disciple Bai Ming's wedding day, but someone actually came in the middle of it and said arrogant words about killing the groom. Was this guy tired of living, or was there something wrong with his head? But before anyone could do anything, a new uproar occurred. The bride actually walked out of the sedan by herself, and even lifted her red veil. "Wow, this is our sister-in-law. She's so beautiful." As expected of the #1 beautiful disciple of a female sect like Mu Shanzi, not only is her appearance outstanding, but her figure is also outstanding. When can I find a female cultivator like her to be my partner? That's not right. According to the rules, shouldn't the groom take the bride off the sedan and personally lift the red veil? Why does this bride do everything herself? There were many discussions. Some were curious, while others were amazed by Hua Xianyu's beauty. However, Qin Feng and Hua Xianyu seemed to be aloof from the world, completely ignoring everyone's voices and looking at each other affectionately. They hadn't seen each other for more than 2 years, but Hua Xianyu is still so beautiful, like a delicate and refined fairy, especially when she wore the fiery red wedding dress. It made her look even more delicate and charming, and it could even steal the souls of men. Hua Xianyu's expression was very complicated. She was pleasantly surprised, agitated, sorrowful, and anxious. All sorts of emotions fused into her beautiful face. Her starry eyes stared unblinkingly at Qin Feng. She was afraid that if she closed her eyes, the dream in front of her would be broken. When she was being carried here, she desperately hoped that someone would come to save her. She never thought that this person would really come. He stood on the golden flying sword and cut through the earth like a god descending to this world. "Qin Feng, take me away," Hua Xianyu murmured. She didn't make any sound, but Qin Feng could read her lips. "All right, I'll take you out of here right now." Qin Feng also mouthed the words back. His figure flew over, and he had already embraced Hua Xianyu. The barrier between the two of them seemed to be pierced through with this hug. Hua Xianyu, who had been suppressing herself for a long time, was completely released. She tightly wrapped her arms around Qin Feng's neck, wanting to melt into his warm embrace. His eyeballs and jaws dropped to the ground. Why was the bride hugging another man? When everyone looked at Bai Ming's head in unison, they realized that there was some green on his head. Ayaya, you disobedient slut, and you stinking brat. I'm going to cut you two into pieces. After Bai Ming came back to his senses, he was furious. He had been cuckolded in front of the whole sect. He felt that he would be too ashamed to stay in the sect in the future. A pink longsword lashed out, creating a pink sword ray that was 100 meters long in the sky. Qin Feng had his back to the sword ray, and he didn't even turn around from beginning to end. However, when the pink ray was about to hit the ground, the golden ray soared into the sky and instantly swallowed the pink ray into nothingness. Rumble. The commotion was much more intense than everyone had imagined, and the scene in front of them was even more unexpected. When they saw that Qin Feng had ignored Bai Ming's sword, many people had a playful smile on their faces. Some people felt that it was a pity that such a great beauty like Hua Xianyu had died just like that. It would have been good for everyone to enjoy themselves before she died. However, Qin Feng and Hua Xianyu were fine. They hugged each other tightly, as if there was no one else around. However, the ground behind Qin Feng, which was hundreds of meters long, was stained with blood. The blood made the petals even more red, as if they were burning flames. Senior brother Bai Ming is dead? Finally, someone came to their senses. How is this possible? Senior brother Bai Ming is at the late stage of the Buddha light realm, but he was killed by that kid in a second? But I didn't see that guy do anything. Not good. This kid must have brought helpers to kidnap the bride. Trash hiding in the dark. Show yourself quickly. You dare to come to Beijing's sect to kill people? I think you have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's heart. The crowd immediately dispersed and looked around vigilantly. Qin Feng was amused. He came here alone this time. How could there be any helpers in the dark? Qin Feng, let's go. Hua Xianyu finally came back to her senses from the joy of their reunion. When she saw that Qin Feng was surrounded, she was extremely nervous. Qin Feng pulled her behind him and said, "Don't rush to leave. I want to teach these dogs who bullied you a lesson they deserve." After looking around, the disciples of Beijing's sect did not find any helpers hidden in the dark. They looked at Qin Feng again in disbelief. This guy really came here alone. Was he crazy? An ant at the late stage of the Buddha light realm dares to behave atrociously in Beijing's sect. Disciples of the Buddha light realm, follow me. Kill this bastard and avenge senior brother Bai Ming. With a roar, 9 cultivators jumped out of the crowd. They were all at the late stage of the Buddha light realm. On the other hand, these cultivators were only core disciples of the North Star sect. They couldn't even be considered elders. This made Qin Feng realize that the 4-star sects of the South Flat Continent were far more powerful than the 4-star sects of the North Sand Continent. The Beijing sect practiced swordsmanship. When the 9 disciples flew into the air, they struck the swords in their hands at the same time. The sword rays crisscrossed and instantly formed a huge sword net above Qin Feng's head, leaving him no room to escape. It's over, it's over. I didn't expect to die here as soon as we met. But if I can die with you, I have no regrets. Hua Xianyu's cultivation was only a little higher than Yichao's. She had just stepped into the 4th stage immortal energy realm. Under the sword power of so many Buddha light realm experts, she suddenly felt an unprecedented crisis of death. When she looked up at the sword net falling from the sky, she knew that death was coming. She wanted to hug Qin Feng tighter, but found that there was nothing. Swoosh! A sword hum pierced through the sky. Although the sound was sharp, under the explosive attack of the sword net, not many people noticed the existence of the golden flying sword. Swoosh! 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 Then, there were a few wind-breaking sounds. Several pink sword rays appeared in the sky and were finally discovered by a few disciples. Were those rays of light? Oh no, those are flying swords and 9 flying swords. What's the use of just 9 flying swords? Under the joint attack of 9 senior brothers at the late stage of the Buddha light realm, the flying swords can't even break through the sword net. Rumble. Just as that disciple was mocking them, a loud sound came from the sky. The 9 flying swords shot out wildly with the momentum of a rainbow being unsheathed. In an instant, they shattered the sword net that was about to land. Ninth Heaven Sword die. Qin Feng carried Hua Xianyu and leaped. In an instant, he flew hundreds of meters away and avoided the collision of the air currents in the center of the explosion. As he escaped, he used his mind to control the 9 flying swords and displayed the 9th Heaven Sword art that he had learned from Wang Jun not long ago. The flying swords were like rainbows, bringing with them 9 puffs of blood mist. The disciples on the ground were dumbfounded as they watched the 9 senior brothers at the late stage of the Buddha light realm being killed in an instant. After the 9 people were killed, 8 of the pink flying sword were taken back. Then, a golden light streaked across the sky. Qin Feng stepped on the golden flying sword and appeared in the sky above the depths of the Beijing sect. Where did this ant come from? How dare you behave atrociously in the Beijing sect? Junior brother by Qi, and I will tear you to pieces. It turned out that 2 figures were flying in the distance. One of them was an old man who was shouting. But before he could finish his words, his mouth suddenly opened wide. He was so scared that he couldn't finish his words. Bang! A loud sound came from the old man's side. It turned out that Junior brother by Qi had exploded on the spot. This Junior brother by Qi was one of the little elders of the Beijing sect. He had already stepped into the true spirit realm level 2, but he was killed in an instant in front of the people who came. Grand Elder by Kuei, who rushed over, suddenly stopped in midair. His pair of sinister eyes stared at Qin Feng, wishing he could see through Qin Feng from the inside out. Soon, Bai Kuei revealed a bewildered expression. He could see that Qin Feng only had the cultivation of the 7 changes of Buddha light. How could he kill a true spirit realm level 2 expert in an instant? Did someone die just now? The disciples in the distance still hadn't recovered from their shock. Many people didn't see who died. Yes, it's Elder Bai Qi who died. He was killed by that guy's sword. There were also disciples who were lucky enough to see the divine might of that sword. The crowd was instantly in an uproar. How is this possible? Isn't that guy a late-stage Buddha light realm cultivator? How could he kill a true spirit realm elder in an instant? We were all fooled by that grandson's appearance. I'm sure he ate a beautifying elixir and deliberately suppressed his strength. Maybe his true age is even older than our Grand Elder by Kuei. Qin Feng laughed off everyone's guesses, and his gaze descended onto Bai Kuei. This old man's aura was steady and strong, and he'd obviously stepped into the advanced stage of the true spirit realm. I know you've conserved your strength, but even if you go all out, you might not be a match for me. Not to mention our North Peak sect has the Nihility God Realm sect leader by Yu Xian holding down the fort. He can annihilate you with a flick of his finger, so I advise you to surrender without a fight and kneel here to commit suicide as an apology. Bai Kuei spoke with conviction. Qin Feng looked at him as if he was looking at an idiot and said, "Is the Nihility God Realm so great? If you infuriate me, then I'll still beat you to the point you flee." When Qin Feng spoke such arrogant nonsense, Bai Kuei and the cultivators on the ground heaved a long sigh of relief in their hearts instead. They were unable to guess whether Qin Feng had help in the dark or not, and seeing this fellow maintain a fearless aura made everyone feel extremely uneasy. But he actually didn't even take a godly void, God realm expert seriously. In this way, it would seem that he wasn't fearless because he had help, but he was really sick in the head. Chapter 1848. What an arrogant fellow. Let this old man show you what I'm made of. Bai Kuei was enraged. He stabbed out with his sword, and instantly, a rain of swords appeared in the sky and enveloped the space where Qin Feng was. With this strike, Bai Kuei's level 7 true spirit cultivation was undoubtedly revealed. Qin Feng didn't dare to be careless and attacked almost at the same time. He held a silver spear in his hand, and as the spear trembled, It brought along thousands of silver spear lights that shot into the sky. Two fierce attacks collided in the sky, and it felt like the sky was shaking. The disciples had already retreated hundreds of meters away from the battlefield, deeply afraid of being injured by the aftershock. This kid is so powerful. Since he can withstand Grand Elder Bai Kuei's sword attack, Grand Elder Bai Kuei has already stepped into level 7 True Spirit. I've already said that guy ate a beautifying elixir, so his actual age is probably over 100 years old. Otherwise, how many people in the entire South Flat Continent would be able to step into the late True Spirit realm at the age of 20? Only those genius disciples from the few 7-star sects have this kind of cultivation talent, right? I didn't expect our Beijing sect to get into such big trouble. I wonder how it will end in the end. While the crowd was discussing, Qin Feng and Bai Kuei had already exchanged hundreds of blows. The sword chi and spear lights that filled the sky constantly collided as if they were going to tear a hole in the sky. After another sword strike descended, Bai Kuei stopped his attack, and he stood on a flat ground as he looked at Qin Feng with a surprised expression. In the exchange earlier, Bai Kuei noticed that Qin Feng was really only at the 7th transformation of Buddhist radiance. But the aura that erupted from him was incomparably ferocious, and it was even to the extent that it wasn't inferior to him, a cultivator at the 7th level of the True Spirit realm. Bai Kuei knew that there were many cultivators in the South Flat Continent who could fight across realms. However, it was extremely rare to see someone like Qin Feng who could directly fight across an entire realm. Unless the other party cultivated an extremely heaven-defying cultivation technique or possessed a rare Dharma treasure. Bai Kuei could tell that the Dragon Quake Spear Qin Feng used was a true artifact, and it was a high-grade true artifact. Although a true artifact of this level was relatively rare in the South Flat Continent, Bai Kuei didn't think that Qin Feng could rely on this Dragon Quake Spear to fight him to a draw. This kid has surely cultivated a heaven-defying cultivation technique. Bai Kuei muttered in his heart, and then he asked Qin Feng, "Which sect are you from? What's the point of asking all this now?" Qin Feng wasn't going to reveal his origins. "I can see that the cultivation technique you're practicing is very unique. You must be from a 5-star sect or an even higher power. If that is the case, today's matter will end here." Bai Kuei's words stirred up the crowd. If Qin Feng really came from a 5-star sect, then the Beijing sect could only be considered to have suffered a loss this time. This was the rule of the divine continent. Everything depended on one's fists. In many cases, the name of a 5-star sect was more important than dozens of lives. You don't need to trick me. I don't belong to any sect. I'm just an independent cultivator. I definitely won't let today's matter go. Otherwise, in the future, everyone will bully my women. How will I have the face to live? Hua Xianhua blushed when she heard Qin Feng call her his woman. A sneer flashed across Bai Kuei's eyes. He was waiting for Qin Feng to say this. If Qin Feng really came from a big family or a sect, Bai Kuei wouldn't dare to covet his cultivation technique, no matter how powerful it was. However, this kid turned out to be just an independent cultivator. Bai Kuei already had ideas about his cultivation technique. Good boy, you can't be bullied at will. Then, is our Beijing sect a sect that can be bullied at will? Watch my sword. With a roar, Bai Kuei attacked again. When he attacked this time, Qin Feng could clearly feel that the sword chi in the air had become sharper. It was obvious that the old man in front of him was conserving his strength. Qin Feng still attacked with the dragon tremor spear. The spear body shook, and thousands of silver spear lights shot out like sharp arrows. However, after this collision, the spear lights quickly dissipated, and there were still many sword shadows shooting out in the air, forcing Qin Feng to retreat. Great Elder Bai Kuei has shown his strength. That ant is no match for the Great Elder. Since he dared to come to Beijing's sect to cause trouble, he already knew that he would meet a tragic end. It's also because our sect leader Bai Xiaofeng is still in seclusion. Otherwise, he would be able to kill that grandson with one palm. Bai Kuei had just gained the upper hand, and the disciples of the Beijing sect immediately shouted. However, Qin Feng acted as if he didn't hear anything. He realized that the dragon tremor spear couldn't deal with the opponent at all, so he immediately took out a golden longsword. Rumble. The golden sword appeared with a few bolts of lightning and exploded in the sky. The sudden change in the sky and the rolling thunder clouds stunned the crowd. Bai Kuei was stunned. When he came back to his senses, he found that 3 bolts of lightning had already landed on top of his head. Without thinking, he took out a small cauldron. The cauldron instantly became big and floated above his head. Moreover, it started to spin rapidly. Blue cauldron shadows flew out and blocked the descending lightning in midair. Qin Feng's lightning attack didn't injure Bai Kuei. He immediately slashed a second time and directly used the third form of the heavenly thunder technique, myriad lightning greeting. Immediately, the sound of thunder rang out and dozens of lightning bolts descended from the sky, bombarding the air above Bai Kuei's head. However, the round cauldron above his head spun faster and faster. Countless blue cauldron shadows flew out and actually blocked the attacks of dozens of lightning bolts. Looking at the round cauldron flying above Bai Kuei's head, Qin Feng suddenly thought of the 8-faced exquisite cauldron used by Long Outyin. The 8-faced exquisite cauldron was one of the 8 great spiritual cauldrons of the northern sand continent. During the battle at White Spirit Mountain, Long Outyin had also used the 8-faced exquisite cauldron to block the attacks. However, during that incomparable battle in the northern sand continent, Long Outyin was killed and his 8-faced exquisite cauldron had fallen into an unknown person's hands. When Qin Feng thought about how he didn't take that treasure away, he felt that it was a pity. Throwing aside his messy thoughts, Qin Feng slashed out again. The sky full of lightning bolts surged down, but they were unable to explode the dense and overlapping cauldron shadows. At this moment, Bai Kuei was both surprised and happy. He was surprised that Qin Feng could actually execute such a ferocious thundersword technique. He was also surprised that he had the green dragon cauldron with him. Otherwise, he would really be blown into pieces by the sky full of lightning bolts. The cauldron shadows that flew out from the green dragon cauldron increased in number, and there seemed to be a dragon's roar. Qin Feng switched to the Zhen Yi sword. Although the heavenly thunder technique was powerful, it consumed a lot of inner qi. Seeing that the sea of lightning couldn't break the cauldron shadows, Qin Feng decided to change to another attack method. Rumble. When the Zhen Yi sword slashed out, a silver sword light that was hundreds of meters long sliced through the void. Qin Feng didn't hold back this time, and the ferocious momentum caused the crowd to scream. However, only Qin Feng knew that the profoundness of this sword wasn't the sword qi attack on the surface, but the divine sense attack that was hidden in the dark. A Buddha Light late-stage cultivator actually launched a divine sense attack against a true spirit late-stage cultivator. This kind of thing would make people laugh their heads off. However, Qin Feng really did it. Moreover, he was confident that he could make Bai Kuei suffer a loss. Just as Qin Feng guessed, Bai Kuei didn't dodge in the slightest when facing the ferocious sword qi, and he similarly welcomed it with his sword. Another rainbow light appeared in the sky, and it was as if the air had been sliced into pieces. Seeing that Qin Feng didn't retreat from the beginning, a playful expression appeared in Bai Kuei's eyes. Huh? You dare to fight me head-on with your cultivation? You really don't know what's good for you. Rumble. The might of Qin Feng's sword had already descended, but it was blocked by the cauldron shadows of the green dragon cauldron above Bai Kuei's head. Following that, another loud sound rang out, and Qin Feng was blasted away by his opponent's sword qi. Huh, that grandson has been defeated. What's there to be excited about? I knew that guy wasn't a match for our grand elder Bai Kuei. Under this sword, even if he doesn't die, he'll be crippled. Let's quickly go up and capture that arrogant bastard alive. When Qin Feng fell from the sky, the crowd went into an uproar. Bai Kuei's smile grew wider, but in the next second, his smile suddenly froze on his face. He originally wanted to kill the ground with his sword and completely cripple Qin Feng's dantian, but a piercing pain came from his mind, and it actually obstructed his actions. Divine sense attack? How is this possible? Bai Kuei quickly realized where the problem was, but he couldn't accept this fact. Everyone knew that only cultivators who had broken through to the true spirit realm could use divine sense attacks. Even if some genius cultivators could comprehend the profoundness of divine sense in the Buddha's light realm, it was impossible for them to use their divine sense to attack a true spirit realm expert and even injure him. The piercing pain in his mind was extremely intense. Bai Kuei knew that not only was he injured, but his sea of consciousness was also severely injured. His old eyes were instantly filled with blood. One had to know that there weren't any elixirs that could recover the sea of consciousness in the entire South Flat Continent. Once a true spirit realm cultivator's sea of consciousness was heavily injured, it was very likely that his cultivation would stop advancing. Rumble. A loud sound came from the ground. It turned out that a few cultivators had rushed up to capture Qin Feng alive. They thought that they were a match for the heavily injured Qin Feng, but they didn't expect that before they could even withstand the might of Qin Feng's sword, 5 early-stage Buddha's light realm cultivators had already exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. Following that, the disciples that followed suddenly stopped in their tracks. They realized the change in the situation. They originally thought that Qin Feng had been defeated, but from the looks of it, it seemed that this kid had tricked Elder Bai Kuei. You have quite a lot of treasures on you. You even have treasures that can attack with divine sense. This old man is going to tear you into pieces and take away all your treasures and techniques. Because his sea of consciousness was injured, Bai Kuei was completely enraged. He forcefully suppressed the pain in his sea of consciousness and leaped in front of Qin Feng. A sword strike in the air brought about thousands of sword lights. The entire air exploded and the sword hummed, shocking the crowd. Qin Feng didn't even think before stepping on his flying sword to escape. He knew that this was Bai Kuei's true strength. This true spirit realm 7 experts' full strength was even more powerful than Qin Feng had imagined. Or perhaps the South Flat Continent's true spirit realm experts were generally stronger than the North Sand Continent's cultivators of the same realm. No matter what, Qin Feng realized that he wouldn't be able to kill Bai Kuei with his cultivation alone. However, he was hesitating whether he should take out his sure-kill divine weapon, the 100-mile light sniper. If he took out the 100-mile light sniper and fired it, he would definitely be able to blast Bai Kuei into pieces. However, Qin Feng was worried about the Beijing sect leader. It was said that the sect leader was a godly venerable who had stepped into the Nihility God realm. If he used his trump card now, what would he do if the Nihility God realm sect leader was prepared? Master, try the power of the 7-colored ghost face soul banner. Little Pig suddenly said. Chapter 1849. When Little Pig said the name of the rainbow ghost face soul pennant, Qin Feng felt a sense of unfamiliarity. However, images of several small pennants quickly appeared in his mind. Those 4 pennants were thrown out by the old man who was trapped in the stone wall seal of White Spirit Mountain. At that time, Qin Feng didn't know what they were, so he didn't expect Little Pig to mention them. Since Little Pig mentioned it, there must be a reason for it. Qin Feng thought about it, and 4 palm-sized banners appeared in his hands. Each of the banners was made of 7 different colors and had a unique aura. Qin Feng hadn't been able to figure out what these banners could do, so he sent some inner qi into them and threw them out. Buzz! Suddenly, a strange energy wave spread out. Qin Feng was shocked. He was very familiar with this energy wave. It was the energy of a formation, and it was a rank 6 formation. When the palm-sized pennants rose into the air, they suddenly enlarged and formed 4 sky-reaching walls that pierced into the ground, sealing off the space. Bai Kuei was trapped inside, and a chaotic sound came from the space of the pennants. It was the sound of Bai Kuei's sword qi exploding on the pennants. What the hell are these 4 huge pennants? The colors are so colorful that it makes people dizzy. This is one of the 8 great holy items of ghost cultivators, the Rainbow Ghost Face Soul Pennant. If it really is the Rainbow Ghost Face Soul Pennant, then Elder Bai Kuei is in danger. I've also heard of the seven-colored ghost face soul banner. Rumor has it that this magic treasure hides a ghost array. Those who are trapped in it will be like they have encountered a ghost wall, unable to escape. The level of the ghost array is extremely high, reaching the level of a level 6 trap array. Even an Ahility God Realm cultivator would not be able to break the trap of the seven-colored ghost face soul banner. Why does this guy have a holy item of ghost cultivators? Could he be a ghost cultivator? The crowd was in an uproar. They were all discussing the rainbow ghost face soul pennant. Qin Feng learned more about the seven-colored ghost face soul flag from these people. He couldn't help but feel a bit awkward. He had obtained the seven-colored ghost face soul flag, but he didn't know as much about it as others. Ayaya, you actually have a seven-colored ghost face soul streamer. I advise you to let me out, or I'll tear you to pieces after I break this streamer. Bai Kuei's roar sounded out from within the ghost face soul pennant, yet Qin Feng seemed as if he didn't hear it. It was the first time he'd used the rainbow ghost face soul pennant, and he was slightly rusty in controlling it. However, the battle this time just happened to be able to use it to familiarize himself with it, and it would be easy to use after using it a few more times. Master. After the rainbow ghost face soul banner was activated, it would form a formation. Within the formation, there would be a ghost formation. Those trapped would not be able to escape, as if they were trapped by a trap formation. Also, the 4 rainbow banners have the ability to attack with divine sense. It can help Master kill enemies faster. Little Pig gave a detailed introduction. Qin Feng was overjoyed. He was very satisfied with this ghostly cultivator's holy item. It had a ghost formation that was comparable to a level 6 trap formation to trap people. It also had a divine sense attack to interfere. All he had to do was cut a few times, and even a godly Master Void God would die. Rumble. Everything had to be done with facts. Qin Feng immediately slashed down with his sword. The Zhun Yi sword in his hand brought out a silver sword light that was several hundred meters long. When he attacked from the outside, the 4 rainbow banners seemed to be transparent, and the sword Qi entered the formation without any obstruction. Rumble. A loud sound shook the sky, but no movement could be seen from outside the banners. However, Bai Kuei's crazy roar could be heard. You little bastard, using such a despicable method to deal with me. If you have the guts, then fight me fair and square. Qin Feng wouldn't fall for his trick. He sneered and said, you still have the nerve to say fair and square? You're a late-stage, true spirit realm cultivator, and you want to fight with me, a Buddha's light realm cultivator? Don't you feel ashamed? Bai Kuei spat out a mouthful of old blood. He was angered by Qin Feng's words, and while he was distracted, he was injured by the sword Qi. He didn't expect Qin Feng to let him go, so he immediately circulated his true essence and madly attacked with his sword. A sword Qi vortex formed in the formation, and it continuously collided with the 4 rainbow banners. Loud sounds rose and fell, but the banners were incomparably hard and didn't have any reaction. Old man, you don't need to struggle on your deathbed. I'll send you to hell now. Rumble. Qin Feng was still a little worried that the banners would be broken. He immediately slashed out a few times, and suddenly the weather changed. Dozens of lightning bolts fell from the sky. Bai Kuei's expression changed greatly, and the azure dragon cauldron above his head began to spin. However, the round cauldron hadn't been activated for long when a piercing pain came from his sea of consciousness. He was so frightened that he immediately put away the azure dragon cauldron. This tattered banners actually have a divine sense attack. Bai Kuei was shocked in his heart. No wonder the rumors said that the rainbow ghost face soul banner was one of the 8 great sacred objects of ghost cultivators. Its power really couldn't be underestimated. In the instant he was stunned, several lightning bolts fell to the ground and exploded around him. Bai Kuei was powerless, and he didn't have the time to raise the long sword in his hand again. A few clouds of blood sprayed out from his body. However, Qin Feng didn't dare to be negligent in the slightest. The opponent was a true Spirit Realm 7 expert after all. He only stopped after a few more myriad lightning strikes. At this moment, Bai Kuei's figure was nowhere to be seen. There was only a ground full of burnt blood. Just as the banners were put away, a shadow shot over from a distance. Qianfen didn't think and immediately threw out the banners again, trapping the figure in the formation. Crackle. The third style of the heavenly thunder technique was unleashed again. Lightning suddenly appeared in the formation, and a few low roars came out. Which ant dares to cause trouble in my Beijing sect? When they heard this voice, the crowd was stunned. This was the voice of the sect master, by Xiaofeng. The sect master is here. That brat is dead for sure. What are you looking at? Even the sect master is trapped. Our Beijing sect is doomed today. Even the Void God sect master isn't that guy's match. Who exactly is he? When the discussion sounded, Qianfen realized that the person trapped by the Rainbow Ghost Face Old Banner was by Xiaofeng. As soon as he learned this information, he immediately launched a series of fierce attacks. Before he came to Beijing sect, Mushin Mo and He Chao had told him that the sect master of Beijing sect was rumored to have stepped into the Void God realm. Facing a Void God realm expert, Qianfen wouldn't let his guard down at all. There were continuous loud noises in the formation, and by Xiaofeng's anguished cries could be heard. Qianfen had a strange feeling in his heart. Although Little Pig had told him that the 4 7-colored ghost face soul streamers could trap a hollow God realm powerhouse, he still felt that it was too easy when it actually happened. Could it be that a hollow God realm ultimate god would be killed so easily? Boom! Just as he was feeling puzzled, a loud noise came from behind him. The loud noise brought with it an extremely ferocious aura. It was definitely the aura of a Void God realm cultivator. Qianfen's expression changed drastically as he realized that he had fallen into the opponent's trap. However, it was too late for him to dodge. As soon as he circulated his inner qi to protect his body, he was sent flying by the violent explosion. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood when he fell to the ground. His stomach was churning, and he felt like his internal organs had shifted positions. Not far away, the Rainbow Ghost Face Soul Banner was still standing on the ground. The sound of the explosion came from it, and by Xiaofeng's cries of pain could be heard. However, Qianfen did not even look in that direction. Instead, he looked at the empty space 100 meters away. There was a figure floating in midair. That person had white hair and a white robe that fluttered in the wind. His body emitted an aura that seemed to be both light and mist. However, Qianfen was sure that this figure was by Xiaofeng's real body, and the figure trapped in the Rainbow Ghost Face Soul Banner was just a clone. You're just an ant at the Buddha's light realm. Do you think you can do whatever you want with a few high-class true weapons? Everyone below the Void God realm is an ant. You can kill by Kuei, but you can never kill me. By Xiaofeng's voice came out, but he did not open his mouth. His voice was transmitted through true essence. It was like a loud bell, and it reverberated in everyone's mind. Qianfen did not reply. He had just swallowed a few qi-consolidating healing pills and was quickly recovering his inner qi. At the same time, his mind was racing. With his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to kill an empty God realm powerhouse. He could only use the Rainbow Ghost Face Soul Banner to trap by Xiaofeng and then use the 100-mile light sniper to kill him. However, the Ghost Face Soul Banner had already been exposed. Bai Xiaofeng was cunning and had used a clone to trick him into revealing the Soul Banner. The next thing Qianfen could think of was to use imprisonment to defeat Bai Xiaofeng. However, activating imprisonment required a large amount of inner qi and divine sense. Moreover, Bai Xiaofeng was an empty God realm powerhouse. Qianfen did not know if imprisonment would have any effect on him. Before Qianfen could think of a countermeasure, a huge palm fell from the sky. It was just a palm that Bai Xiaofeng had casually slapped down, but it brought with it a momentum that could collapse mountains and split the earth. Even the people standing hundreds of meters away felt an extreme pressure in their hearts, let alone Qianfen, who was at the center of the battlefield. He opened his mouth and began to vomit blood. He could not stop vomiting blood, and his body felt as if there was a weight of thousands of kilograms pressing down on him. Even his movement speed had slowed down. Buzz! At this moment of life and death, Qianfen no longer hesitated and swung his saber with all his might. With the imprisonment in his hand, the air above his head suddenly vibrated, emitting waves of strange energy fluctuations. With Qin Fun as the center, time stopped within a radius of 500 meters. Even the air stopped flowing. The surrounding cultivators were in a myriad of poses. Their expressions remained the same as they were a second ago, and some of them still had their arms in the air. Qin Fun was the only one who could move in the imprisonment space. When he was about to swing his saber at Bai Xiaofeng, his expression changed. He noticed that the expression on Bai Xiaofeng's face had changed from surprise to shock. He's moving. Qin Fun was shocked. This was the first time he had encountered someone who was not frozen in time, ever since he used imprisonment. Realm? You've comprehended the existence of the realm? Bai Xiaofeng could really move. He was still mumbling to himself, looking as if he had seen a ghost. In the Divine Continent's division of realms, there was a huge gap in strength between each major realm. Starting from the Buddha aura realm, a cultivator's body would emit a Buddha aura every time he or she broke through a realm. This Buddha aura had powerful defensive abilities. It might not be able to withstand a single blow from a true spirit realm cultivator, but it would be difficult for a Saint King realm cultivator to break through the Buddha aura's defense. At the true spirit realm, a cultivator's body would condense true yuan, and the true yuan would be able to take shape. They could even create true yuan blades and swords out of thin air. Moreover, a true spirit realm cultivator's spirit core would appear in their body. As long as the spirit core was not destroyed, they could be reborn. However, after rebirth, their cultivation would be lost, and they would have to start all over again. At the Void God realm, a cultivator would have an extra clone. As long as the clone was not destroyed, the cultivator could use the clone to reforge his or her real body, and his or her cultivation would not decrease. On the other hand, clones were not the strongest manifestation of a Nihility God realm cultivator. After reaching the Nihility God realm, some cultivators with great talent would begin to understand the existence of the realm. Once they understood the realm, their strength would be different from before. In Bai Xiaofeng's eyes, Qin Fun's confinement attack was the embodiment of the realm. Chapter 1850. Qin Fun heard Bai Xiaofeng's words, but he did not understand. What was state? Why did Bai Xiaofeng say that he understood state? Why did he look so shocked? Qin Fun couldn't figure out why, but he didn't have the time to think about it. When he saw Bai Xiaofeng suddenly freeze in midair, he immediately activated the rainbow Ghostface Soul banner. The 4 banners shot out like flying arrows and instantly surrounded Bai Xiaofeng, forming a new formation around him. Phew! Seeing that Bai Xiaofeng was trapped, Qin Fun let out a long sigh of relief. However, he heard Bai Xiaofeng's roar coming from the formation. Who are you? What realm are you in? How can you use state? How did you understand it? Qin Fun wondered if the old man was having an epileptic fit. He actually said something that others couldn't understand. Moreover, he was currently trapped by the 7-colored ghost face soul banner. But instead of worrying about his own situation, he was still asking questions about the situation. Huh? What just happened? Is the sect leader crazy? How can he go crazy at a time like this? What do you know? The sect leader is not crazy. He's just scared by that kid. That kid actually understood state. Legend has it that only mid to late Void God realm cultivators can understand it. The crowd was excited once again. Qin Fun had brought them too many surprises. There was an old saying in the Divine Continent, all below the Void God realm are ants. Even if one was in the true spirit realm, they had not reached the true threshold of cultivation. The origin of this saying was reflected in the appearance of state. Only Void God realm cultivators could start to understand state. Once one's state appeared, one would be the master within that realm. Qin Fun came from the North Sand Continent, so he did not know about the existence of state. He did not understand state either. The reason why he created the illusion of state was because of the power of the imprisonment. In the Northern Sand Continent, there were only a handful of virtual God realm cultivators. The ultimate gods who had stepped into the middle or late virtual god realm were even rarer. Even Dongxian, Su, and the rest of the immortal venerables did not really understand the true meaning of the realm. Therefore, Qin Fan could not understand Bai Xiaofeng's actions. He only thought that Bai Xiaofeng was crazy. What's so great about a void god realm cultivator? How dare you bully my woman? If you deserve to die, then die. When Qin Feng said the same thing again, the effect was completely different. Previously, everyone had a mocking and playful attitude, but at this time, the group of cultivators from the Beijing sect were full of fear and trepidation. A cool-looking spear appeared in Qin Feng's hand. The spear's body was surrounded by white lightning, so dazzling that some people couldn't open their eyes. The design of the light sniper was somewhat similar to that of a Chinese sniper, but in the Divine Continent, it was an extremely strange thing. None of the Northern Peace faction cultivators could recognize what a light sniper was, but when Qin Fan fired it, its power shocked everyone. Rumble. Several white lightning bolts as thick as a man's waist exploded in the formation of the ghost-face soul banners. A loud sound rang out in the air, as if the sky was being torn apart. The instant the lightning bolt hit the ground shook violently. Even a rainbow ghost-face soul banner swayed a few times. Bai Xiaofeng let out a miserable howl. Even though he was trapped in the ghost-face soul banner, he had never felt fear. The 4 soul banners could at most temporarily trap him, but he didn't believe that Qin Fan could kill him. But the moment the lightning bolt exploded, an aura of death approached. Bai Xiaofeng's expression changed drastically. He had just stepped into the empty god realm not long ago, so he was very familiar with the power of lightning. Wasn't this the lightning tribulation of breaking through to the empty god realm? Who is this kid? He could even release the empty god realm lightning tribulation. Lightning tribulation. This is the empty god realm lightning tribulation. Some disciples were startled. When Bai Xiaofeng broke through not long ago, he had felt the power of the lightning tribulation. When the news of the empty god realm lightning tribulation descending on the Beijing sect spread, the entire Beijing sect was shaken. Many disciples started to run for their lives, no longer hoping that sect leader Bai Xiaofeng could kill Qin Fan. In a small forest several hundred meters away from the city gate, Mushin and Mo and He Chao raised their heads and looked at the sky. They maintained this posture for a long time. Even though their necks had become stiff, they still stared at the sky without blinking, afraid that they would miss something. Senior Mushin and Mo, what is this? Looking at the apocalyptic scene, He Chao's eyes almost fell out of their sockets. Although he was standing thousands of meters away from the lightning source, with his cultivation base, he still felt a huge pressure on his heart, making it hard for him to breathe. Mushin Mo's expression was not much better. His beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Lightning tribulation. It should be the empty god realm lightning tribulation. What? Empty god realm lightning tribulation? Looks like the rumors are true. The Beijing sect leader has really stepped into the empty god realm. He actually used the lightning tribulation to attack sect leader Qin. Sect leader Qin is doomed. He Chao's expression was blank, and he was in extreme despair. However, Mushin and Mo flew towards the direction of the Beijing sect. His voice echoed on the spot. Bai Xiaofeng has already broken through to the empty god realm, so he can't use the empty god realm lightning tribulation. This is a little strange. I'll go in and take a look. You just stay here. When the 10th lightning tribulation struck, Bai Xiaofeng could no longer hold it back. Although he was a godly venerable who had successfully resisted the empty god realm lightning tribulation and survived, he was fully prepared for that breakthrough. He had countless spirit armors, shields, and defensive formations. Now that he had come out of seclusion to fight Qin Fan, all the artifacts he could use had been destroyed by the lightning bolts. Moreover, he was trapped in the 7-colored ghost face soul banner. This holy artifact of ghost cultivators was not to be trifled with. Not only did it have ghost formations, but it also had divine consciousness attacks. Loud explosions sounded continuously, and Bai Xiaofeng began to vomit blood. His robe was in tatters, and his face was covered in dirt. Black smoke was rising from the top of his head. Apart from Qin Fun, no one could see his current sorry state because the Beijing sect disciples had already started running for their lives. Even if there were disciples who could see Bai Xiaofeng, they would not be able to recognize his current bloody state. Brat, stop right now or I'll die with you. Bai Xiaofeng's roar came through the soul banner. What responded to him were another 3 shocking lightning bolts. Bai Xiaofeng vomited a few more mouthfuls of blood and knelt on the ground. There was not a single part of his body that was unscathed. His skin was charred black, and the stench of burnt blood permeated the air. If you stop, I'll pretend this never happened. I promise I won't trouble you again. Bai Xiaofeng's attitude quickly changed, but Qin Fen did not care about what he said. Even if he was telling the truth, Qin Fen would not spare him. Mercy to the enemy was cruelty to oneself. This was the basic rule of survival on the divine mainland. Bai Xiaofeng seemed to feel that he was about to die, so he shouted before he died, "If you really want to kill me, then at least let me know how I died. How did you comprehend the boundary?" "You idiot, I don't know what a boundary is." Chapter 1851. Rumble. When Mushan Mo arrived at the battlefield, she saw a wave of ferocious lightning falling to the ground. If not for the 4 strange banners blocking the aura, everything within a radius of several hundred meters would have been blasted into ruins. Mushan Mo heard Bai Xiaofeng's dying wail from the rainbow ghost face banner, but her expression suddenly changed, and she stabbed her sword towards the distant sky. Not good. Sect leader Qin, Bai Xiaofeng's clone, is trying to escape. It turned out that the sword was aimed at Bai Xiaofeng's clone, but Mushan Mo's realm was too low, so the sword Qin missed. Seeing that the clone turned into a black shadow and was about to disappear into the distance, Mushan Mo became anxious. She knew that if she did not destroy the clone of a hollow god cultivator, the other party could use the clone to reconstruct his real body and maintain his cultivation. Whoosh! Almost at the same time she warned Qin Fen, a loud sound came from the distant sky. Half of the sky was illuminated by lightning, and several lightning bolts suddenly appeared. Everywhere they went, the air seemed to be torn apart. Bai Xiaofeng's clone was instantly submerged in the sea of lightning, and not even ashes were left. Seeing this, Mushan Mo let out a long sigh of relief. Her beautiful figure flickered and finally landed beside Qin Fen. She did not dare to look Qin Fen in the eyes, and her heart was already in turmoil. Although she guessed that Qin Fen had hidden his strength, she did not expect him to be able to kill even a hollow god stage divine master. The weapon he used before was really strange, and it was Mushan Mo's first time seeing such a weapon. The power of this weapon was earth-shattering, and it could actually release lightning that was comparable to a hollow god lightning tribulation. "Senior, are you all right?" Mushan Mo's way of addressing Qin Fen had changed. She had suspected that Qin Fen had eaten a beauty pill, and now she was sure of it. She even felt that Qin Fen's real age was even older than her. Qin Fen understood what Mushan Mo was thinking, but he did not explain. At this moment, he had already put away the rainbow ghost face banner and 100-mile light sniper and was sitting cross-legged on the ground to recuperate. He had used up all his trump cards in this battle, and he had almost lost his life in Beijing sect. However, the spoils of the battle were still very bountiful. He took away the storage rings of Bai Kuei and the others, and even Bai Xiaofeng's storage rings. These storage rings contained a large amount of cultivation resources, spirit stones, spirit herbs, and materials for equipment refinement and array formations. However, there was nothing that caught Qin Fen's eye. By the time Qin Fen had adjusted his breathing, He Chao had also rushed over. When he saw the ruins and corpses, He Chao's eyes widened. He felt like he was dreaming. Sect leader Qin, did you kill all these people? Bai Xiaofeng didn't show up? He Chao's voice trembled. Without waiting for Qin Fen to speak, Mushan Mo said, they were all killed by Senior Qin. Bai Xiaofeng already appeared, and he was also killed. These simple words almost scared He Chao to death. Before coming here, he had tried his best to persuade Qin Feng not to throw away his life. He never would have thought that sect leader Qin would single-handedly annihilate a 4-star sect. Senior Qin, what do you plan to do next? Mu Shanmo was now very respectful toward Qin Feng. This was a cultivator who could kill a nihility god. He was not someone he could offend. Qin Feng had just arrived at the South Flat Continent. Now that he had found Hua Xianyu, he planned to go to the Panshan market to find his father and the others. Before that, he had to settle Hua Xianyu down. After all, Hua Xianyu's cultivation level was too low, and it would be more troublesome to bring her along. At this moment, a beautiful figure landed. It was Hua Xianyu who flew over. The battle in front was too intense, and with her realm, she couldn't get close to the battle. She waited for the battle to calm down for a while before she broke through the resistance of the aftershocks and rushed over. Master, is it really you? Seeing Mu Shanmo as soon as she arrived, Hua Xianyu was very excited. Mu Shanmo hugged her in his arms and stroked her hair. Xianyu, my disciple, you have suffered during this period of time. Hua Xianyu's tears flowed uncontrollably. Although she pretended to be strong on the surface, her experiences during this period of time were terrible. She was even prepared to commit suicide today. Unexpectedly, at the crucial moment, Qin Feng descended from the sky on his flying sword. Master, I am fine now. Let me introduce you. This is my partner. Hua Xianyu hesitated and changed friend to partner. Her pretty face blushed, and she immediately said, Qin Feng, this is Mu Shanmo's master. Thank you for taking care of me during this period of time. Otherwise, I would have been in danger. Mu Shanmo wiped away the tears on Hua Xianyu's face and said with a smile, Don't cry. It's all better now. I already know Senior Qin. This morning, he found Mu Shanzi to look for you, so I brought him here. Qin Feng and Hua Xian, you had met for a short time before Qin Feng started fighting with the cultivators of the Beijing sect. Only now did Hua Xianyu know how Qin Feng found her. Hua Xianyu did not know where Qin Feng found her. It could be the South Flat Continent or even another continent. She even suspected that Qin Feng and the others had died. Even if they were not dead, it was very likely that they did not know that she was here. However, the moment Qin Feng appeared, Hua Xianyu's emotions were indescribable. Not only did she know that Qin Feng was not dead, but she also knew that Qin Feng had not forgotten about her. He had even risked everything to save her. The two of them naturally hugged each other. After a moment of warmth, Qin Feng said to Mu Shanmo, Sect Leader Mu, I plan to occupy the base of the Beijing sect. What do you think? Qin Feng did not know much about the South Flat Continent, so he planned to listen to Mu Shanmo's suggestion. Now that Bai Xiaofeng is dead, even if some of the cultivators of the North Flat Continent escaped, they definitely would not dare to come back for revenge. The Beijing sect is a 4-star sect after all. The location they chose is rich in spirit qi, and the construction of the sect is also very good. If Senior Qin likes this place, it would naturally be best for him to occupy it. Qin Feng realized that he might be thinking too much. When he occupied the Beijing sect, he was worried about the rules of the South Flat Continent. However, from Mu Shanmo's words, the other party was concerned about whether he would like this place. Qin Feng had just arrived, so of course he would like the Beijing sect. Moreover, the construction of a 4-star sect in the South Flat Continent was as spectacular as that of an ordinary 5-star sect in the North Sand Continent. The density of spirit qi here even surpassed that of a 5-star sect. Since he had an idea, he had to put it into action. In that battle, many places of the Beijing sect had been blasted into ruins. Mu Shanmo called all of Mu Shanzi's disciples over to help clean up. Meanwhile, Qin Feng drew up a blueprint. He planned to transform the Beijing sect into China's hero city. A month later, the model of the hero city had been built. Qin Feng specially guarded the Beijing sect for a month. He was worried that the disciples of the Beijing sect who had escaped would come to take revenge. However, he did not see even a shadow for a month. In fact, Qin Feng was also worried about one thing. When he killed Bai Xiaofeng, he had used the Thunder Tribulation stored in the energy tank. When he had triggered the 9 changes true thunder in the North Sand Continent, he had attracted the attention of the immortal venerables. He was afraid that there would be experts from the South Flat Continent. In the end, not a single Nihility God expert had come for a month. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.